PB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Well, hi, everybody. This day will get better and better, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. It's cloudy and then mostly sunny later. Today's high temperature up to about 69. Partly cloudy, 44 for a low tonight. Limited sunshine tomorrow, but warmer, high 78. Wind advisory begins tomorrow afternoon with wind gusts to 35 miles per hour at daytime, maybe up to 40 miles per hour in the evening. Then a line of showers and storms will move in later on Tuesday night with some of the storms strong, possibly severe, including the threat of tornadoes. Our weather app will keep you on top of the action. For now, from the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low-price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
1819 News.
A state lawmaker is now talking about a recent filibuster that occurred last week in the state Senate. State Senator Chris Elliott is the one who's offering a bill that launched the filibuster response. SB 5 changes the way in which the trustees are appointed to the Alabama Department of Archives and History. The 2 Democrats opposed to the bill led the filibuster, Bobby Singleton and Roger Smitherman. Elliott now says that the filibuster was so over the top in its inflammatory language that Republicans who would normally allow it to move forward rather than halt the whole process are going to have to do something to rein in this type of behavior. Elliott spoke about it on FM 106.5 out of Mobile.
Yesterday was an embarrassing day to be a senator in Alabama, to see the kind of bottom basement level of discourse that occurred. Will there be more of an appetite in response to that to adopt some different types of rules that limit limit discussion if it gets off the rails like that? And I think the answer to that is yes. Each individual senator likes being able to have this type of, it's not unlimited, but it might as well be unlimited debate. Yeah, that gives each senator a certain amount of power to keep things from happening. But when it's abused, then there's a reaction to that. And yesterday it was abused.
I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Covenant Rescue Group seeks to directly support organizations and agencies that are fighting the global battle against human trafficking. They do this through funding, procuring, and advocating. You can go to covenantrescue.org for further details. They need your donations, guys. Hop on and donate.
A traffic stop by Priceville police has resulted in the seizure of $60,000 in cash along with illegal drugs. 23-year-old Amber Battle of Birmingham is now in police custody with a bond of over $500,000. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. My last message was the report for 2024 real estate market in the River region. According to industry experts, they predict for 2025 we will have more inventory to choose from for our buyers, more buyers for sellers to show their houses to. Here are 5 tips for buyers or sellers in 2025. Number 1, sellers need to price their home at fair market value with the help of your realtor. Number 2, buyers need to be pre-qualified by a local lender prior to shopping for a house to save them time. Number 3, use a certified residential specialist or CRS to purchase or sell your home. Less than 2% of realtors nationwide have this designation. You need an expert now. 4, use someone with 48 years of real estate experience to help you with your largest investment. Number 5, quit waiting. Now's the time to buy or sell. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883, the Goodson Group, or 551-0225.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
After death damning politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels. I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program here on a beautiful Monday. It seems like the season's deciding to stay one season for the time being. And, I always try to begin the day with good language. What do I mean by that? I mean, I can add colors to the chameleon, change shapes with Proteus for advantage, and set the murderous Machiavel to school. Bonus points if you know the reference. But recently, folks, I was, I got the courage. I was able to summon the courage after finding the nerve to say publicly that I was correct about some political matter. Some random woman online called me narrow-minded. If I'd known the lady at all, I might have found it insulting. But I don't know her. At least, not very well. I only know her by her ridiculous reaction to my correct political opinion, as well as her name and profile picture, which suggested her to be a middle-class white woman of a certain yet unknown age. Though I suspect there are many middle-class white women who I would consider nothing but wonderful company, for some reason it's always that particular demographic who seems to find my political opinions most annoying and narrow-minded. I worry I remind them too much of their ex-husbands, which is, of course, my fault. If only the strange lady of a certain yet unknown age had known me a decade ago. That was when I was truly narrow-minded. Firmly hitched to rigid political principles, quick to argue with any opposing view, and swift to call out the hypocrisy and lies of politicians, as though I was accomplishing much of anything. Now, time has changed me. I've not so much abandoned my principles, I've simply discovered, much to my pleasant surprise, that political principles may be realized in the strangest and most unexpected of ways. Sometimes crooked paths are the only route to the straight and narrow. I used to think politics was a literal debate society, but now I see it more as a stage for players of all moral shapes and shades. Much can be learned from the villains of a story, just as much as from what any hero may do or say. What good are heroes without villains, tricksters, and fools serving as stumbling blocks in their way? Even the worst have their role to play. Take political flip-floppers, for instance. Though counterintuitive, flip-floppers are some of the best guides through political upheaval and change. Follow the shape-shifting politicians who have been at it for decades, and you may very well know what's next on the political horizon. The hypocrite who can frame his face for any occasion may very well be written off by most as an unprincipled weather vane, but then even weather vanes have their use, as they know to point which way the wind is blowing. Though there is much to be loathed about a flip-flopper's hypocritical antics, his ability to survive is often impressive, almost admirable, if it weren't so crooked. That said, some political flip-floppers are better than others. The flip-flopper who vacillates out of weakness or embarrassment provides very little of value other than serving as a punchline or cautionary tale. Think a toe-tapping Larry Craig. But the flip-flopper who flips and flops at just the right time, surviving time after time with his ambitions intact, such a man raises flip-flopping to an art and provides the valuable service of signaling big political shifts ahead. For example, if there is one modern American politician who knows how to add colors to the chameleon like no other, it's United States Senator Lindsey Graham. A murderous and slippery shapeshifter, Graham is a master at his craft. He knows when to smile, when to shout, when to wear false tears, and when to threaten the very worst. When Lindsey Graham flips and flops, the whole political world takes notice. Yet he endures all the same. Maybe you think I go too far. Murderous? Well, not only has Graham been for every war within recent memory and threatened many other military actions, he's actually called for assassinations. Is there a Brutus in Russia? Graham asked in early March of 2022, soon after Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Is there a more successful Colonel Stauffenberg in the Russian military? The only way this ends is for somebody in Russia to take this guy out. Right on cue, after being one of the biggest cheerleaders for the Ukrainian war effort, Lindsey Graham has now hewed to President Trump's push for peace. Graham's latest turnabout on the war, publicly throwing Ukrainian President Zelensky under the bus moments after taking a smiling selfie with him, is the stuff of Machiavellian legend, while also pointing the way through the harsh political winds. Graham's turn is the biggest sign yet that Ukraine has truly lost the war. Most everyday people, I suspect, will still find Graham's behavior absolutely wretched. Many years ago, I would have too, as I could not stand the man's militant message and smarmy opportunism, all delivered in that buttery South Carolinian lilt. My rigid libertarian principles would compel me to scream in outrage against the neocon and warmonger. Yet now, things have changed. Time has done its work on me. I have seen too much unfold on the political stage not to appreciate Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham's behavior may still be wretched, but now I find him perfectly wretched. Like I'm watching a method actor who has mastered and honed his horrid role, adding essential color and personality to the play's drama. I haven't abandoned my libertarian principles, but what a beautiful irony that the flip-flopping of Lindsey Graham may now foreshadow peace. What an incredible twist of fate that Donald Trump, who many regard as an ambitious strongman and unprincipled shapeshifter himself, could actually stop the war. What could be more libertarian than ending a war? Yet the road to peace is full of crooked twists and turns like all great stories tell. I still plan on staying anchored where it counts. My principles intact, buried deep in my marrow. But now I've learned to appreciate the worst with the best, the good with the bad, the crooked roads and side quests on the way to the straight and narrow destination. If anything, this shift in perspective has given me more nerve to play my own role and publicly say what I believe to be true. No matter how many random white women of a certain yet unknown age call me narrow-minded. Welcome into the program, folks. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Eddie Bader and Troy Carrico here in the studio. How you two gentlemen doing?
Pretty good, buddy. Rumors of my untimely demise from last week's rally were greatly exaggerated.
Have they figured out who actually spoofed that call?
Yeah, well, I had a very interesting day that day. I think I was on Phil Williams, and he wanted a full report, and I wanted to give you one too. After the conclusion of the rally, and we counted 148 people total that were at the rally, which is a start. But here's the thing: I get a call from the chief of security saying, "Hey, Pat Harris, the Secretary of the Senate, would like to speak with you."
Sure.
So I go upstairs, and I think I knew what it was going to be about. It was about Caleb Taylor's 1819 article on the bizarre nature of that phone call. And I go in, and he says, "Hey, sit down." And I could tell by his body language he was agitated. And he said, "I'd like to talk to you about some things that we do and don't do up here on the here at the house." He said, "First of all, you're welcome to be here anytime." He gave me the protocol for how to do it properly. The chief of security is an outstanding individual, Ms. Gordine, but he started going on about this article and how Caleb made it sound like that this came straight from his chief of security, and that's a fireable offense and all this. And I said, "Sir," I let him talk for 5 minutes. I said, Mr. Harris, I want you to look at these call logs. I want you to talk to this individual. I want you to get the facts." And I go, "What's the difference here?" He goes, "There isn't, but there's a 1 in front of the number 334-850, whatever it is." Mm-hmm. And he goes, "That's the only difference." I said, "Well, that came from that phone number, which is a government-issued Alabama state phone. I said, what you have is an OPSEC issue. You have your integrity, the integrity of your communication system has been compromised by someone." And he goes, and he thought about it. He goes, "I guess you're right." I said, "No, I know I'm right." I said, I've worked in counterintelligence. This is someone has spoofed or done something, and they're using your chief of security, or I would argue probably can plug whatever number they want on a government phone and be able to penetrate and act like they're a spokesman of your organization. So it was fascinating. The investigation's underway. The Alabama Gazette just did a story on it, about it, so they're looking into it.
Well, and I know the governor's office even has been trying to figure this out because they don't want to be impersonated. So, I mean, there's that's a strange occurrence, but it's good to see all in one piece. That seemed like, oh no, the walls are closing in. This thing's over. But let's start there because there's so much nationally we could get to here, especially when it comes to Ukraine and President Zelensky and the mineral rights deal and the turn of face by people like Lindsey Graham and others. But this overhaul of the Veterans Board here in Alabama, what's the latest on this as far as you're seeing?
So what's going on right now is the bill is it's going to be on the House floor tomorrow. We do not expect a vote tomorrow. It did not make the special calendar. It will probably be pushed. They're on a 2-day work week this week. We expect it to be pushed forward until next Tuesday. Probably Thursday, there will be resolution on it next Thursday. I can tell you this. From where I sit, there has been a upswing of resistance against this bill coming from legislators, from constituents, from organizations. And look, if they could have passed it, they would have already done that. This would have already been pushed through. This is part of Ivy's agenda. And they right now they're struggling to get the votes. We have very confident reporting that the Democrats are going to block as a block, and there's a chance there for an alliance between the Democrats and the veteran nation and the supporters of veterans to be able to stymie the draconian dystopic move that continues out of the office of
actually doing something other than just filibustering for hours about a bunch of nonsense. And by the way, programming note, I believe at 2 tomorrow, Anthony Daniels will be on the show, the minority leader there in the state house. So look forward to talking to him, in particular about the making the overtime tax relief permanent.
Yes.
But also I'll have to sneak in a question about what you just mentioned. So we'll see, and I believe later in the program today we'll have Admiral Kent Davis call it.
They'll give us an update on it. Yeah, and I have an op-ed coming out in 1819 talking about this at length and some of the things with Ivy's bad weekend. So.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, we were all day on Friday because it happened literally minutes before the show began, right, Eddie?
Oh, yeah.
This Oval Office meeting. And for where we're sitting, we loved it. Like, and I've heard from family members and others who are like, that shouldn't have been in front of cameras, or that should. But I kind of saw this coming because Marco Rubio, a week or two before this meeting, was saying that Zelensky is not playing ball with us even behind the scenes. And so when you go back and you examine the room, you can tell J.D. Vance is pissed off.
Oh, sure.
Mike Waltz is pissed off. Rubio's like sinking into the couch, smoldering, angry. And then, of course, Trump just went off the handle when he's like, you don't tell us how to feel. Like, what the heck is wrong with you? Stuff over the weekend with Zelensky, it sounds like the guy's saying, well, we still want NATO. And he said something to the effect of, it'll be American sons and daughters fighting and dying.
I saw that.
Like, what the hell? And now today, apparently, he wants to sign the mineral rights deal.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
But, like, we hadn't had a chance to talk about it. What do you make of that showdown in the Oval Office?
I'll tell you what, guys. I was driving down to Florida to see my mom and visit a friend down in Port St. Joe. And I was listening to your show until I couldn't, and then I had bad cell phone reception. But I went back and listened to it. And I'm glad I wasn't here that day because to me, here's where it went. Zelensky's been given a bad bill of goods from the Democrats on what to do, and he should have had better counseling on, hey, dude, you're not dealing with the Biden administration now. You're dealing with the Trump administration.
How did he not know that? That's what I was.
I think he was led down a primrose path by people like Hillary Clinton, by Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, whoever would take advice from any three of those on international affairs is a myopic individual, for lack of saying something else about him. But my thoughts are this. Trump is trying to achieve leverage and will do so by getting Europe to get off their ass and get some defense. Look, let's be honest. We've got a big problem with China. That is our most existential threat, right?
100%.
So I'm okay with where we got. I don't know how it got to that point. It was kind of a media circus there for a while. But I do know this, that no matter what happens, Europe is now forced to take up the sword. And that's really what we wanted to achieve with this.
I love that
And
idea.
I think I'm okay with that.
Now, do you see him stepping up?
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact, and I'll tell you who's going to probably take the lead on it. Someone asked me from a podcast. I was on a podcast the other day about where are we going. You're going to laugh. Who do you think on continental Europe will take the lead on this? What do you guys think? I just want your opinion.
It should be Germany.
I would think Germany, but
the
world,
Poland.
I don't know if
Poland. It's Poland. It's going to be Poland. It's going to be Poland because Poland has the largest standing competent military force. And let's be honest, they've got a score to settle with the Russians, dude. And so my point is, they're going to be the tip of the spear in that European movement. The French and the Germans got a way to catch up, though. They're so the condition of their military is. I told you on an earlier show, NATO did an inventory on them. They're about 40% deadline of their tanks, of all their artillery. That's not good.
But do you think this will kind of give them that boost and the kick in the butt to get it?
It better because
that's how I see it. The positive I see.
I mean, if not, then you know what? It's like Putin. I mean, it's like you remember what Trump said. Putin can keep going as far as he wants if they're not going to fight. So yeah.
Well, and it should be Germany, given they are geopolitically, they should be an economic powerhouse, and yet they've deindustrialized, and I don't know what's going on.
Emasculated, yeah. They have no warriors. They have no warriors in their leadership
but
right now.
Poland's right there. It's what is it called, the Suwalki Gap?
Yeah.
And so if the next move, say all the worst fears are true, Putin wants to take the Baltic countries, because what is it? It's Poland right there in the Suwalki Gap, Belarus, which is very friendly, then Kaliningrad, and then you have, Lithuania,
Estonia, Latvia. And the thing is, that area has been, the battlefield has already been shaped by NATO there, where it will force Russia into a funnel at the gap, and then that's what the A-10 Warthog was designed for, the Fulda Gap and the Swina Gap, to be able to nail armor. And right now, Russia, if you take a comparison of Russia and Poland's force structure, Poland's got superior armor, everything right now. They can beat them.
I don't think the Russians are that nuts. In fact, I think Putin's almost, I think he'd like more of, new Russia. He would like Kharkiv, he'd like Odessa, these sorts of things. But I think generally the war aims have been met since that land bridge.
They have.
Again, they'd like to take more land, but that land bridge to Crimea, that's pretty solid. But I've always thought, maybe I'm wrong about this, that one of the main goals of the war was to usher in more of a multipolar world. Like, we'll usher it in with a bang. Y'all want to play, y'all want to put NATO on our doorstep. Okay, we're going to upend the international liberal order once and for all, even though it's been struggling for a while. And that's when you look at the deal that might be coming out, and Zelensky is saying he is ready to sign. Looking at a BBC report here,
I saw that.
The U.S.-Ukraine mineral deal. It's like, why is that such a big deal? Because I think at the heart of the disagreement was sort of the economic assets of the country from the very beginning. Remember when this all broke down in 2014, the government's overthrown, it was about trade deals with the Europeans and with the Russians.
Sure.
And the Russians were like, hey, you can't sign that deal with the Europeans and then just create this open door. We have our own deal with the Europeans, and we have our own deal with you. Like, you can't just join Europe all of a sudden.
Did you see the stat that came out from I think it was the European Gas Consortium, that more money is spent on natural gas from Russia than all the money they give to the defense of Ukraine?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's out there. And I'll find it and send
and
it
yet
to
the
you,
Europeans laughed at Trump when he told them, don't be relying on Russian fossil fuels. They laughed in his face. So you're right. They need to stand up. I saw the British, pledged $2 billion.
And here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that they're going to put a coherent ground force to be on the ground from the western part of the country. And then I heard that they're talking about a no-fly zone enforcement over that area, which would help in the way that the glide bombs that they release are about 40, 50 miles out. That would keep them within missile range and get them further back on standoff. So
and then
there's ways to achieve it if they get active. But
and there would, I guess, be like a buffer zone or something like that.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Yeah,
and the sticking point for me is if the Russians think they still have the upper hand, maybe they don't, but if they think that, they still want the rest of the Kherson Oblast.
Absolutely.
They still want the rest of the Zaporizhia, Donetsk, and Luhansk.
Sure they do.
Donetsk and Luhansk. And they don't have all of that just yet. So are they willing to sort of play this out, or hope maybe we'll get it in a deal or something?
Well, one of the things that's endemic to the problems that American foreign policy has in general is this is just a microcosm. Let's back up for a minute. What really predicates some people's angst over all this was when the wall fell, the third largest nuclear power at that point was Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
They had the third largest arsenal. We negotiated with them to give up those missiles and give up those systems and we would defend them, and we didn't. Once again, American foreign policy betrays those that we sign deals with. Now, why is that? We could get into a whole different show about that, about the 4-year change of president and executive power and all that. But the problem we have is no coherent foreign policy ever stands. Like you said, we signed a deal for mineral rights, 4 years. Let's just say something happens, Vance isn't in, and now you're screwed. And it's just it's a problem. It's a problem.
And I'd imagine, though, at the time that because of that was the Soviet Union's arsenal there in Ukraine, is like, okay, do y'all even know how to operate them correctly? Or do y'all have them secured correctly?
Here's what I have a good friend, Colonel Chuck Holland. He's probably listening. He worked on the START 1 and START 2 treaties with Strategic Air Command. Listen, not only could they operate them, the Ukrainians, they were given to them. And here's the deal. Russia at first did not want them back. We have no way, we don't have any way to, they were in chaos.
Yeah.
So America stepped in with NATO, and they figured out how to get those weapons mitigated and back to Russia or destroyed or whatever.
Well, and think of like the James Bond movies or even Austin Powers.
Right.
Like there's always that worry about the terrorists is on the black market going to get that nuke.
No, there was a documentary, I think, on Netflix. 2 guys out of New York went to Ukraine and almost bought a sub.
I saw that.
Yeah. They literally could have bought it.
So there's an article too in I think it was Reuters that did a study on it. They were looking at the biochemical systems of Russia after the fall. Guys, listen, it was creepy. They said they had unrestricted access to walk right into the area where the lab was at, and they opened up a refrigerator where they kept their lunches, and there was vials of stuff in there that had strange stuff. Because it blew my mind. I'm like, good Lord.
Well, and remember back, our current Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, when he's a senator, he asked Victoria Nuland straight up what's in these biolabs.
That's right.
And she got all tight-lipped about it. And again, it's like, what are we doing? What in the world is wrong with y'all? I don't know. I think I want to see the deal done. It does look like it's it's heading in that direction.
It will.
And maybe I'm overstating it, but it's just too funny to see Lindsey Graham, of all people, is like, I'll kill Putin with my thumb if I get next to him. Like, it's just seeing him now going, no American wants to do business with Lindsey Graham, or excuse me, with Vladimir anymore. I kissed him the other day, but now it was like a Judas kiss.
That was a Judas.
And like, that's kind of amazing to see one of the biggest cheerleaders for this kind of say, all right.
And you gotta wonder what's about that. Wonder what his investment portfolios look like.
Yeah. Well, as much as you think I love women, I
love war.
More than war, I love mineral rights. I like those rare earths.
And you know what's crazy about it is the CIA World Fact Book I looked at, the mineral rights are not that. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Ukraine's mineral rights, the only thing they have a lot of is a lot of graphite. They got beryllium and some titanium, but there's more in the United States than that. And I think
we got a lot of graphite here in this
state. Right. Yeah, right. And you know what's neat about Alabama? It's the only state in the union that can produce from start to finish all the things for steel. That's why Birmingham became what it was, right? But my point I was going to make was that at the end of the day, I think it's masterful that Trump said it this way, and I'm going to tell you why. No matter what happens, Europe's going to have to man up.
Yeah,
and that was
thing to me.
The course of action we sought to achieve. So,
well, we got to hit a break here, but first, this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and ain't they wonderful, Eddie?
Absolutely, I talked to them this morning, Joey.
Oh, really?
Yes. So over the weekend, I had one of my rental properties. I got a call, and they've got an unwanted visitor running through the kitchen. So rather than they said, they don't know what to do. I said, well, that's fine. We'll just get Pest Pro, come out there. And sure enough, I talked to them this morning. They're going to meet my tenants first thing tomorrow morning, get this thing taken care of. It was that easy. Literally one phone call I needed to make. Things are done.
I love it. I love, like, they're really good at what they do. Like, they're very skilled professionals, but the service side of things is great. Key to, it's in the name, Pest Pro Services. And I also love that they're local. So when you're spending money with them, it's sticking around here in the local community, and they give back. It's not only like the athlete spotlight, like they're doing the Player of the Week, which is great.
Awesome too,
folks, go direct message them on Facebook if you got a high school athlete who needs some accolades and some spotlight, great performance or great sportsmanship, whatever it is. Just direct message that nomination, but they do more than that.
They do.
I mean, the amount of support she gives to other small businesses because she's been successful herself. I'm talking about Ashley, of course. It's just a wonderful place to work with.
Yep.
So with termite season pretty much here.
Man, we're here.
Mosquito season
here.
right around the corner. And I've been noticing like wasps and stuff. They're
Wasps.
after me, man.
Would they take care of a den of snakes? If there was snake infestation or something?
She's got somebody she can contract that out.
Because there's 11 Union Street's a good place we could start.
We need to fumigate this building, if that's how you say
Put a
that
big tent
word.
around it. Yeah.
Ashley, help us.
Call them up today at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or you can always go to ppsriverregion.com or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. When you want to know, call a pro, Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellows on the radio, sent you. Before we go, Troy, what flag do you have here behind you?
Yeah. Is it, let's see if we
Turn
can
it a little more.
Like
yeah, there you go.
All right. So here,
it's
hold on.
green with a blue square.
Does anybody, man, hang on there. Does anybody recognize that?
I do not.
I don't.
It's one of my favorite flags. It's officially called the Stark flag, but it is actually Nathaniel Green, the Nathaniel and the Green Mountain Boys of Vermont.
Okay.
Nathaniel Green, and it is the first battle flag that actually any really coherent infantry regiment had. And my wife wanted me to give more details on the flag. She's like, you just assume everybody knows what it is and you show it. So Robin, if you're listening, here's your lesson for the day. Stark flag is actually the Green Mountain Boy flag. It is the official flag of the Vermont National Guard.
All right.
It's still maintained as their battle flag when they deploy. It was at Breeds Hill. It was at Bunker Hill. They were the ones responsible for the capture of Fort Ticonderoga with Benedict Arnold, who was, we could talk about that separately. He was a very competent general, but he was an arrogant man, and he didn't get the just deserts he wanted, so he switched sides. But anyway, half of his foot's at West Point, by the way. At any rate, that flag represents everything at the beginning of the war when things were dark, but they were very successful in all their campaigns. So there's the Green Mountain Boy flag.
Well, and I've learned when you wrap yourself up in history, and especially the amount of history you know, it's like, it's good knowing where you came from. I think there are a lot of folks walking around kind of like, I'm just a modern man. Yeah. Did you see the Oscars last night or something?
Oblivious.
Did you see the basketball game? And it's like, those are great things. You can enjoy the new fun things, but it's good to know where you came from at least to get the context of what we're up to.
That's what think about the great Roman and Greek historians. They just, I mean, their words today are just as relevant as they were.
Yeah. Well, and how can you know you're progressing if you don't know where you've been?
Absolutely, brother.
We got to hit this break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Adams Drugs has been committed to the healthcare of the people of the River Region for over 62 years. We value the trust each customer has in our pharmacists, techs, and entire staff. If you have not experienced the difference of Adams Drugs and are not satisfied with the customer service that you get in the big box stores, we invite you to visit any of our locations and see how committed we are to your satisfaction. Adams Drugs offers a variety of services that you will not find in all pharmacies in the River Region. Personalized compounding, area-wide delivery, wellness screenings, immunizations, medication consultations, and specialized packaging, just to name a few. Visit us at our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs has 12 convenient locations to serve you. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Adams Drugs is your local Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Well, hi, everybody. This day will get better and better, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. It's cloudy and then mostly sunny later. Today's high temperature up to about 69. Partly cloudy, 44 for a low tonight. Limited sunshine tomorrow, but warmer, high 78. Wind advisory begins tomorrow afternoon with wind gusts to 35 miles per hour at daytime, maybe up to 40 miles per hour in the evening. Then a line of showers and storms will move in later on Tuesday night with some of the storms strong, possibly severe, including the threat of tornadoes. Our weather app will keep you on top of the action. For now, from the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
You can make your ASC loan payments from your phone anytime, anywhere. It's quick and easy. www.yourasccu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
I told y'all last week that Bitcoin was on sale at a discount. And, well, what changed? Because there's this spike that just popped up yesterday at about 7:30 in the morning.
Oh?
And you're like, why did that? Like, why a 4% jump or something all of a sudden? Oh, Trump has announced his intent to have a United States crypto reserve.
I saw that.
All right.
So now the low, it got down to about 78,000. It's now at about 87 spot price as we speak. But it popped up to 95 all of a sudden.
Still a good time.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's still early.
Yeah.
I'm not saying throw your life savings in it. I'm not saying refinance the mortgage and, like, you can go nuts. I mean, but I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying just take a little bit, learn about it. Take $100, learn about it. You can invest a little bit. Again, buyer beware, but I tend to think this is the future, and that's the big story that came out. They are going to move forward and establish a United States crypto reserve.
Nice.
He announced this Sunday. A U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the presidential working group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, SOL, and ADA. And of course, Bitcoin will be the backbone of all this, as it is the backbone of the crypto economy. And I love seeing this, and this is what I've been trying to get across to folks, that the big institutional players, especially a lot of folks around Trump, like we've played how many clips of the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick. He's big into this.
Right.
Bessent's big into this, Treasury Secretary. And David Sachs is the one who's got that working group going. He is the AI and crypto czar there for the Trump administration. So we'll see when it exactly happens, but you better pay attention. And the best thing that could happen is instead of having an arms race with China or an arms race with Russia or anybody else, it would be amazing to sort of have a race for who can get the most Bitcoin first.
You know, I was having a conversation with a good friend, Shane Hudson, my neighbor, and we talk about a variety of stuff. We were talking about crypto. And, you know, if someone were really progressive, really pushing the envelope, why not change Social Security into like a 401k where there's portfolios for investments, and crypto would be.
Eddie's sitting there thinking, like, why couldn't we have done that 30 years ago?
I know that. No, I know. I know, Eddie. I know you got very, you got pissed off about it.
That my whole life.
I know.
I don't
Me too.
understand.
Me too.
But you're right on the cusp now, and you're.
No, I still would be down with it. It's my money. I should be able to do
You
whatever
should be able to do what you want to do with it, right? Yeah, and that's
Even
really.
settle for a nickel
I mean,
on the
that just makes sense, but that's probably why it'll never happen. So, yeah.
But I've never understood that for the life of me. It's your money. You are going to.
Well, that's how They sold it when they passed it in the 30s, that it was your money in your account and yada, yada, yada. And then when they had to argue in front of the Supreme Court, they said, no, actually, you're right, Your Honor. This is just a general part of the general taxing power. It'll go into a fund. Like, we can't, it's not like discrete accounts that are for each person in the way they sold it.
But I'm hoping we're, with Doge, I'm hoping we're on that track of somehow simplifying these kind of things. Because obviously, we've all known this. Politicians cannot be trusted with our money. Social Security could go broke. Honestly, they could tell us tomorrow it's broke. We don't know. We don't know how much is in there.
Well, and of course, a lot of folks, I knew it because I watched the whole 3 hours of Rogan with Elon Musk.
How was it?
It was good.
Yeah.
Like, it actually, for 3 hours, it flowed pretty well.
Good.
Musk is, like, very flippant about it, but you can tell he's also a little worried. He's like, yeah, they're all trying to, like, maybe I won't get all the corruption out because I think they're trying to kill me. If I found all the corruption, I think they'd kill me, Joe.
I see different clips. That's why I was wondering how the whole thing was.
But in one in particular that drove folks nuts, though, what we've been saying on talk radio for years, you've heard conservatives, Mike Lee, senator from Utah, said this the other day. Musk called it a Ponzi scheme. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. Well, other than the guy running it can force you to pay into it. But yes, when you look at the unfunded future liabilities, it's not your money in your account. It's on the backs of the future workers and
the
taxpayers.
worst part is the bet that they have is you're not going to be around long enough to collect it.
That's right.
Or you'll collect it for a year or two or 5 years.
Best.
Maybe.
Yeah, at best.
Right. And well, with people living longer, though, they're paying out a lot more than they thought.
Yeah, kicking the age up.
So I on the thing with Musk and Rogan, I get into these moments where so much of the day-to-day is still chewed up in politics by your corporate media, and they still are driving the narrative. They're really trying to hit sort of that moderate persons and the chaos. We don't know what's going to happen. That Trump loves Putin. I saw him kissing in a tree the other day, yada, yada, yada. But then I'm reminded, when you see this guy they've been trying to demonize, and they talk about it in the interview, they're doing to Elon what they did to Trump. And I think Elon's going to survive it because you see, we still have Rogan. So that interview, I haven't checked the numbers, but it's to tens of millions of people as opposed to that quick hit. And it's a much better context. You actually get to see what the guy's like, what he's saying, how he's thinking through the Doge process. And I hope what we're going to see is a little more clarity. Apparently, Doge is going into the Pentagon this week.
That's going to be interesting. And I'll tell you where else it's going to be interesting, Department of Energy.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's where the nukes are at. So the Manhattan Project is the progenitor.
Savannah River plant is part of the DOE, and all that, where the weapons are made, plutonium. But still, there's going to be a lot of holes there, I think, with alternate energy. You're going to find a lot of stuff inside DOE.
Well, and I'll be interested because, as you would know better than anybody in this room, I think, when that email is sent out, like, give me the 5 things, if you're in a classified setting and your superior officer's like, don't answer that, you listen to your direct superior. Yeah. But it sounds like today, Hegseth is from the defense secretary level saying, no, answer these things.
Well, and I think here's what you do. You've got the classified, if you're working in a SCIF, which is a secured compartment information facility, which you have to be if you're doing classified material, you can speak in generalities. You can say, I'm working on Mideast country analysis. I'm working. You don't get in depth, but I mean.
Well, and by the way, there was a moment, and I was talking to my grandfather watching in real time, where Rogan's pressing Elon on like what we've talked to Lou Elizondo about, like advanced propulsion technologies and aliens and or something we don't understand, at least isn't in the public eye. And Elon's like, well, I have the top security clearance, given what I do. Right. You'd think I know about it. And I looked at that and I go, man, that's a great way to deflect and say it doesn't exist. Like, if you do have the tippy top, the biggest security clearance, you wouldn't even be allowed to hint at the existence of a lot of this stuff, right?
So I have, what he's talking about is a TSSCI, which is a top secret sensitive compartmented information. The key word in that little TSSCI is C, compartmented, meaning everything has a keymaster and a gatekeeper, right, to get through. And I've told you about SAPs, which are called Special Access Programs. You have to be read on specifically to that program, no matter what your level of clearance is. And that's how this onion has so many layers. And that's how you can have a a pariah fiefdom inside DOD, inside CIA that controls all of the bells and whistles to it.
Well, and Rogan pressed him of that. Is it not compartmentalized of one of the defense contractors? And he was like, I know all these guys, and if they wanted to build a better rocket than me, and he's like, I want this to exist.
Right.
Like, I'm doing the way I know best to do it right now with known technology, but I want some of these advanced technologies to exist and make the job easier. So, I don't know. It's a strange time indeed. And not only are we going to hear more about Doge, and maybe Zelensky signs this mineral deal, yada, 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 there is going to be a full-on State of the Union tomorrow night.
Yes, that's right, Joey.
Yeah, usually it's just a joint session, and like what? The president's been in there a little over a month, and what have you actually done? Well, not with this time around. He's done a lot, and I got a feeling he is not going to hold back, and it's going to be a little bit different of a State of the Union.
A little bit punchy in there, I think so.
And I'm looking forward to that back and forth. We'll see, but we got to hit another break. First, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health, and they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They're ready to help you fellas out if you're feeling run down and tired, and that's mentally and physically. So you feel like you just got fog in your mind, you're trudging through mud, like you just are haunted by past memories of your younger self. You used to be able to go all day, pull all-nighters, and now you're falling asleep after lunch.
Yes.
You just ate a sandwich. Now I'm going to take a nap. You're seeing unwanted weight gain, loss of muscle mass, no sex drive to speak of, which is a sad, sad thing.
Right.
Well, maybe you have low testosterone, and knowing whether you have low T is huge in combating some of these issues. So get by to Montgomery Men's Health. The providers there will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. It's really just a quick blood draw. I think they take 2 little vials.
If that, yeah.
And then they sit down and ask you basic quality of life questions so they can kind of go through how you're feeling. And if you do have low T, they have treatments there that can truly change men's lives, and a whole schedule menu of treatments depending on what best suits your needs. After treatment, men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym. Brother. That's right, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and you usually even notice an increased libido. And you can actually book the same day that you call.
Nice.
That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today. What was top of my mind this morning is I watched the clip of it. Did y'all see how John Cena turned on Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, and at the behest of The Rock, the final boss?
I missed that.
Actually, WWE, I had my old roommate texted me. He's like, we might need to start watching again, because now that they're on Netflix, like literally Cody Rhodes goes, hey, Rock, go F yourself. And doesn't say the harsh letter. Right. So it's very salty, very in your face, and very over the top, and it's kind of great, actually, in terms if you like that sort of men soap opera.
I have a very good friend that wrestled in the WWE, Johnny the Bull Stamboli. He was a member of the Full-Blooded Italians, and they were heels. And they were pretty big. There's a video of him body slamming Rikishi all 400. I mean, pressing him and throwing him down. Wow. So maybe we can pull that up and show it.
He body slammed Rikishi.
Oh no! Listen,
and he didn't get the stink face.
He military presses him and slams him.
Yeah, because he did the stink face, where he put you in the corner, like passed out, and then he would run and just put his butt, like huge butt, right in your face.
No, we'll have to pull that up. That's a good one.
Anyway, we'll hit this break. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit CrosbyElectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
Hello, I'm Johnny Sullivan from Sinclair's Restaurant. We're almost 27 years, and our business is as good as ever, and I give credit to Blue Water Broadcasting for keeping us on the air and letting people know what we do. Advertising with them has been a huge help to our business. I've seen a uptick from day one. If you need to grow your business, I highly recommend you give them a call.
Blue Water Broadcasting is the #1 most listened to radio group in the River region. Find out how to put this reach to work for your business. Call us to find out how we can help. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folk helping local business.
Are you thinking about selling your home? Here's a question for you. Would you trust your biggest investment to someone who's only doing real estate as a side gig? They've got another job, so how focused are they on getting you the best results? I'm Hannah Grantham, and for us at Forest Meadows Homes and Land, real estate is our full-time and only job.
That's right. You don't have a part-time banker, so why would you have a part-time realtor?
So if you're thinking of selling, think Hannah Grantham and Eddie Bader, and let's make sure your home gets the attention it deserves.
We're full-time agents getting full-time results. Give us a call today, 334-322-0662.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. One guy that I criticized him for years. I always thought he was not in his right mind. Maybe he was just carrying the party line. But now that he is getting to focus on, I think, what he truly loves, I am deeply impressed with Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Oh, yeah. I'm too.
Surprised, too. The way he's been handling himself, too, in some of these interviews. Here's a short one. This is with little Georgie Stephanopoulos. And, I think Rubio makes the point better than I ever could. Let's listen into the Secretary of State.
Let me tell you. All right. So do you know what the United Nations resolution was? I'll tell you if you want to hear what it was. It basically said this has been a horrible war. It's time. That's what the UN was created to do, to stop wars and to prevent them. And that's what the resolution did. Was it antagonistic towards the Russians? No. Back to the point. But it also didn't praise the Russians. All it said is, this is a bad war. It needs to end. And by the way, at the Security Council, which has not been widely reported, the first resolution on Ukraine that has passed the Security Council in 3 years, passed this week because of the leadership of President Trump, and it's a resolution that says bad war needs to end, let's bring the two sides together. That's what the resolution is. Again, what is the United Nations for? Isn't it not a forum to promote peace in the world? And shouldn't we all be happy that we have a president who's trying to stop wars and prevent them instead of start them? And I just don't get it. I really don't, other than the fact that it's Donald J. Trump. If this was a Democrat that was doing this, everyone would be saying, well, he's on his way to the Nobel Peace Prize. This is absurd. We are trying to end a war. You cannot end a war unless both sides come to the table, starting with the Russians. And that is the point the president has made. And we have to do whatever we can to try to bring them to the table to see if it's even possible. I'm not promising you it's possible. I'm not telling you it's 90% likely. I'm saying it's 0% likely if we don't get them to a negotiating table. And the sooner everyone grows up around here and figures out that this is a bad war that's heading in a bad direction with death and destruction and all kinds of dangers surrounding it that could spiral into a broader conflict, the sooner people grow up and realize that, I think the more progress we're going to be able to make. But the president's crystal clear. He campaigned on it, and he's going to govern on it. And that is, he is going to be a president that tries to achieve peace, and he has been very clear this is a war that would have never happened had Donald Trump been in the White House, and it needs to end, and we're going to do everything we can to end it in an enduring and sustainable and fair way.
So refreshing.
Yep.
To hear an American Secretary of State speak that way. And across the board in this administration, it doesn't come across where it was Democrats and Republicans alike, where everything is this contrived, scripted thing. Yeah. Obviously, there are things they say in the back room they're not saying publicly. That's how a lot of this is always going to work. But it doesn't sound like the same old talking points that have existed in D.C. forever. It actually sounds like a guy who goes, you know what? The international liberal order is kind of over. That whole era is over. It's time to reset the table to the interest of the United States, putting America first. Whether it's Rubio or Hegseth, or even I've been impressed with, I was a little skeptical, Mike Waltz, like all these main foreign policy people, you can hear they are hammering home the Donald Trump message, the America first message. There's none of this like trying to undermine him or be too cute by half. Yeah. They are pursuing it, and it's so refreshing compared to what I've heard for decades.
Well, I think this is just more evidence of whether people want to admit Project 2025, the planning, the pre-planning that went into this administration and the picking of the right people that are going to toe that line and put it first. It's impressive because you always miss on a few people. So far, everything looks pretty good.
Yeah, and I think Tulsi so far has been pretty great.
be
The
good.
only fumble, and we were talking about it in the show before, the only fumble I think is this whole Epstein thing where Pam Bondi and them, like, we got the...
Still don't understand what happened.
Yeah, I just, well, don't say it. If you're like, we're released
Right.
tomorrow, it's on my desk.
That's what
Like,
I'm
don't
thinking.
say stuff like that if it's not true, woman. Excuse me, Attorney General Bondi. Like, don't do that sort of thing. Because that's where folks go, okay, we don't trust you. Who's actually running the show over there? I mean, I don't think I've ever asked you about Epstein. What do you think Epstein is?
What do I think about him?
Yeah, what do you think he is? Like,
I think he is. I'm not sure whether or not the legitimacy of what we're talking about right now is his wealth or his control, but I don't have a lot of opinion on it. But I will tell you this: that there's a lot of people whose names appear with him that just guilt by association of what we know about this man. He's he was a big benefactor to Harvard. He has so many fingers, and I have a feeling if you really investigated him, he probably did a lot of unscrupulous things financially, but it's the sexual things that all we're left with. So I don't know. I don't have much opinion on that. I'm still trying to find out about the UFOs. You know that, the UAPs, guys.
well, but with one guy, Eric Weinstein, who was managing partner for Teal Capital for a while. So let's say he knows markets and finance pretty well. And he's nuanced to a fault. It's very frustrating to folks. Like, just pick my side, Eric. And he's like, no, I'm going to be nuanced. He was asked to meet with Epstein. And after having about a 20-minute conversation, first he's like, the whole table has a huge American flag on it that they're sitting in. Those pictures definitely look like they have cameras behind them.
Yeah.
And after talking to the guy for just like 15, 20 minutes, he's like, this guy doesn't really know finance.
That's what
He's a construct, is the way he was, Eric Weinstein described him. It's like, he gave me the heebie-jeebies. He's smart, but he clearly is playing a role, is what that guy's takeaway was. So I don't know. I just don't think necessarily we're going to find out all the secrets of that. And honestly, whether it's that or JFK, RFK, MLK, what I care about most is this Thomas Matthew Crooks, the first assassination attempt.
Amen, brother.
I'd like to know more about the second too, but the first one in particular, and that's
Start with the first.
And like, that's the one thing to folks who still trust corporate media. It's like, why did they all shut up about it? If this shoe was on the other foot, this would have been in the American history books for all time.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
And we would know every little detail. And this is where I put on my tinfoil hat. I think the plan, whoever's plan it was, is Biden falls off a cliff in that debate. Trump is killed. It would have been Kamala versus Nikki Haley. I think that was the plan.
Oof.
And thank God we don't live in that world.
That didn't even remotely come true.
No, and I think Trump turning his head, that bullet missing his head,
man.
it is, and it's one of the realest things I've seen ever, that at the last second when you think the worst are going to succeed, nope, there's a little bit of grace that comes in.
Man.
Providence steps in. And we're off to the races now.
Yeah.
We'll see, but whether it's Trump or Elon, you better have beefy security, gentlemen.
Well, that's the thing is, you better have. I said when Trump was doing that, he should have had his own private security detail. He should have hired a bunch of gunslingers. You know?
Well, we got to hit this break. Normally we talk to Austin Branco, but I believe he's tied up and busy right now, which is always good to hear with our sponsors. But if you're looking for a team with Austin Branco and many of the other members, you've heard Brant McDonald on these airwaves for years, working with Greg Budell. Invista Advisors is ready to help you plan out your long-term financial future. It all begins with a conversation where they actually get to know you, your estate, maybe you run a small business, or maybe you help run an endowment, a nonprofit of some sort. Could be you want to plan, end of life, long-term planning, so life insurance and wills and how, inheritance is playing out. And of course, part of that is going to be an investment strategy, but it's not just, say, looking at stocks. It is about making sure you're planning your financial future in the way that best suits you and the people you love and that are counting on you. You can begin that conversation there at Invista Advisors at 387-0094. That's 387-0094. When you call them up, be sure to tell them that Joey Clark, that fella on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Israeli police say a man in his 60s was killed. 4 other people were wounded in a stabbing attack in the northern Israeli city of Haifa. Police say they're treating the stabbing as a militant attack. A security guard and civilian killed the attacker. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has rallied his European counterparts to shore up their borders and throw their full weight behind Ukraine as he announced outlines of a plan to end Russia's war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he believed the war would go on for some time. And the Vatican says Pope Francis has suffered 2 new episodes of acute respiratory crises and has been put back on non-invasive mechanical ventilation. The Dow is dropping 391 points. This is SRN News.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North, open Monday through Friday 8 to 5, Saturdays 8 to 1.
Well, hi, everybody. This day will get better and better, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. It's cloudy and then mostly sunny later. Today's high temperature up to about 69. Partly cloudy, 44 for a low tonight. Limited sunshine tomorrow, but warmer, high 78. Wind advisory begins tomorrow afternoon with wind gusts to 35 miles per hour at daytime, maybe up to 40 miles per hour in the evening. Then a line of showers and storms will move in later on Tuesday night with some of the storms strong, possibly severe, including the threat of tornadoes. Our weather app will keep you on top of the action. For now, from the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low-price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. Grammy-nominated R&B singer Angie Stone, a member of the all-female hip-hop trio The Sequence, was killed in an early Saturday morning crash near Montgomery. The van Stone was riding in flipped over on Interstate 65 before being hit by a Freightliner truck about 4 a.m., 5 miles south of Montgomery. Angie Stone was 63 years old. A Montgomery man has been sentenced to 24 years in federal prison following his conviction on drug conspiracy charges. 45-year-old Van Sean Treywick was arrested in October 2020 for his involvement in a drug trafficking operation bringing kilograms of cocaine from Texas to Montgomery. A 2-alarm fire heavily damaged a home in Montgomery's Deer Creek subdivision Saturday morning. Montgomery Fire Rescue units responded to the home in the 8900 block of Dallinger Court, where smoke and flames could be seen coming from the roof of the 2-story house. A 35-year-old man was taken to the hospital for treatment. The cause of the fire is under investigation. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. an equal housing lender.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers.
It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back.
Put on the happy face.
Yeah, man, sometimes if you can hear the things we're talking about off air, and we're not even talking dirty things.
I'm going to go ahead and leave now. I'm a little bit depressed.
Yeah. No, welcome back to the program. Good body, everyone. Oh. So let's go to Soldier Boy. He's been very patient. Hey, Soldier Boy, how you doing?
This is Captain Patience here.
Captain Patience.
Would you like a cookie?
Would you like a biscuit?
Knuckle sandwich, I thought he was going to say.
How big of a fill are you?
Hey, Joey, you're talking about boasting up and propping up Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, correct?
Yeah, I've been very impressed with him
here
of late.
Last couple of days.
Well, I just have a problem trusting people with small hands.
And beady eyes.
And he hit me on my hands. See, look at my hands. I tell you, there's no problem there. And if he hit my hands, I'm telling you, I guarantee you, there's no problem.
Marco, does everything match up with your small hands? I don't know. Jeb energy over there. I got Jeb low energy, but I got Marco with small hands over here. I tell you, I have that primary debate. That is, I mean, it's funnier than Young Frankenstein. It's funnier than anything I've ever seen. I sat there and I watched Trump. Trump just, I like what he did. He did it like a boxing match, okay? He sat there. Who was that guy that was in the corner for Muhammad Ali?
Oh, his corner man?
You know what I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about. I see his face. I cannot think of his name.
It's not Angelo Dundino. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Okay. He sat there and didn't throw any punches at any of those. He sat there and counterpunched. And some of them finally woke up. Half of them did and said, and they were either whispering something in his ear with their radio, with their earpieces. Do not go after him because he's a counterpuncher.
Right. It's the dumbest thing in the world. And when it got down to just Rubio and Ted Cruz, he had something for both of them.
Yeah.
Like, it was great. What was it with Cruz? Lying Ted. He holds the Bible high and he lies, lies, lies.
I love what he said. What did he say about, what was it, what's his name? Ted? Not Ted. Now you got me mixed up with Ted. From Florida. What's his name?
Oh, Jeb Bush.
Yeah, he goes, Jeb, you know your family's putting a lot of money into this. You know you're the number one person for the Republican Party. and you got low energy, low energy. And I sit there, man, you can't. He had those lines made up already.
Oh yeah, and when then Jeb got an actual like zinger in that was funny, Trump did his hand low, and Jeb, like an idiot, did the low 5, and Trump held it on. He made him look like a little boy. Like that was a pretty funny one, Dad.
I gotta give credit to what's his name, Marco Rubio. As soon as he went after his small hands, he said, "I've never seen anybody, a man your size, with small hands that small." And man, he got smart, Marco.
I think I might have.
Shut the hell up.
I might have found it here.
I also happen to call him a lightweight, okay, and I have said that, so I would like to take that back. He's really not that much of a lightweight. And as far as, and I have to say this, he hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. I've never heard of this one. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee.
I can't love it.
And wait, hold on. If you remember, later that night, he literally put his meat on the table. He goes, "These are Trump steaks.
Trump steaks.
This is Trump wine."
Yep.
He did the whole infomercial.
Well, if you look at Trump's hands, to be honest with you, he's got big hands.
He's a big guy. Yeah.
He's a big guy.
He's a big
and
guy.
Rubio's not that. And Rubio's not a big guy at all.
Right.
And in that same debate, Trump kept calling him Little Marco, and Rubio slips up and goes, well, I'll tell you what, Big Don. And it's like, what are you?
Fell right into it.
Right into it, man.
Jeb got smart after a while. Finally, halfway through getting his butt whooped so damn bad, he finally learned to keep his mouth shut. Because they're saying something in their earpieces, I'm sure. Do not attack Trump. Counterpunch, cover up, like boxing match. But no, they went right after him, man. And Trump just waited and knocked the crap out of him.
There's a great clip. It's after Trump becomes president, and he's doing a big old rally in Texas. And so both Senators Cornyn and Ted Cruz are there. And Trump tells this whole story. It's like, oh, Jeb Bush is easy. I could take him out. Rand Paul, easy. You know, I didn't make fun of his looks, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot there. But he goes, and then I get to Ted Cruz, and I see, national debate champion, Harvard. What am I going to do with this guy? His father might have helped kill JFK.
That's all he needed.
Oh my God.
That's all he needed right there.
And they're now laughing that, oh, did you see the zinger I threw at you? And now they're all on the same team.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I had some friends who were Jeb Bush fans on the team, on the Jeb fan club. After that debate, man, they didn't say crap to me for the rest of the year. They were just quiet. I said, what happened to your boy? He says, man, he doesn't. He said, Jeb needs to learn when to shut his mouth. I mean, how many times did you have to get hit, Eddie? How many times you got to get a hit to the body? Okay.
The first one usually did it for me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I know you're a tough guy, Jeb. Right? Yeah, you're a tough guy. I get it. Being a tough guy.
You know you're the front. Everybody's giving you all the money. You know your family's behind you. You know the RNC is backing you with extra money. I don't care. And then Marco says, small hands don't say nothing. I was like, holy crap, man. And see, if you notice in the rest of it, every time he gets he debates now, everybody stays away from his counterpunching. Nobody goes at, you're going to go after him, okay? Be the counterpuncher and wait for him to attack.
And he still got it.
Because you notice,
well,
you watch Trump during even today's, this last debate he had, and especially when that major one when he made me laugh, he just sat there and didn't attack anybody. He just waited for him to go after, because everybody wanted to go after him that debate. Remember that?
Oh yeah, for a minute they did.
Yeah, Trump's like, they said Trump's the underdog because he's laughing. He's gaining momentum. I'm sure tonight they're going to be going after him, and that'll be one less person in the running. Oh, was that a mistake?
Was it?
I think he won the race on that debate alone.
Well, I appreciate you taking us down memory lane, but I got to run. Appreciate it, Soldier Boy.
Thanks, Soldier Boy.
272-9228. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, guys. Thanks for letting me on. I heard the last caller. I hope we're both in agreement. I was listening to him, but I'm Sometimes I wasn't sure. Sometimes I was. But this is what I want to say. The prior secretaries of state we had was Hillary Clinton. Now, then we had a great one with Mike Pompeo. And then the Secretary of State we got now is Marco Rubio. And I want to throw my 2 cents in. I think he did fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's doing fantastic. Now, he's only been in there 30 days.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, no, we got a lot of road to run down here.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. But I don't want to just, we don't have to limit it to Secretary of State. There's so many damn offices up there. I want to throw my hat off for all of them. Secretary of Energy, all the cabinet, the entire cabinet. And the reason I'm for that is because if you're not for that, we're $37 trillion in debt. Interest on our credit card costs more than to defend our house.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what? We were talking about this at the break, Joey.
How simple can it be?
Right.
You know
Well, no, we got to get on top of it. But I appreciate the call, Robert.
See you, Roberta.
You were saying?
I say we were talking about that to the last caller. You're right. The planning that went into the execution of this Trump administration and its pre-planning for the policies it wanted to get running on, it's just outstanding. It's in my opinion, it's a paradigm shift for politics. I mean, they came in ready to kick some ass, and they did.
Yes, they did.
No, and I love that they're hitting the ground running, and it is across the board. It's not just Rubio. Mike Waltz is the new national security advisor. It's a very important position. You know, the other, General Flynn, Mike Flynn was supposed to be the national security advisor. He gets taken out along with Sessions. I call it the Kislyak screw job.
Absolutely.
And they got screwed. And it just, I think Flynn was even aware of it, but he still stepped
went
in
through it. Yeah.
And I think Sessions didn't see it coming the way he should have. And I like Jeff Sessions, but it just, that's what happened.
Right.
So Trump has to go with, you remember, and I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's more just institutional, is H.R. McMaster.
Yeah.
And
he is institutional.
Yeah.
He's part of the system.
Exactly. And McMaster came out after the whole showdown in the Oval Office on Friday saying, Vladimir Putin is smiling ear to ear or something to that effect. I'm like, that was the guy helping run Trump's foreign policy. And I remember reading through McMaster's book, and I'm like, this is too clean. Like, it's too
sterile.
Yes.
It's been redacted.
Right. And I don't doubt the intelligence, like the ability of a lot of those folks, like who was the guy who worked under McMaster? Pottinger. I mean, they're brilliant people up there, but often it's like these folks are trying to cage Trump in as opposed to actually embrace his vision. So it's nice having a national security advisor that isn't doing that. Here is Mike Waltz. Dana Bash looks so glum in this video.
She's like, great.
Yeah, she looks so glum in this video. Let's listen in here.
So I think stunning to all of us in the Oval Office was that it was not clear Zelensky was going to go to negotiations at all, that he would ever be able to negotiate with Putin, and whether he shared our goal of ending this war. So what I made clear as Secretary Rubio, and I said, look, this cannot proceed, was that this was a huge missed opportunity for him and for his country. He could have left the White House on Friday on the heels of an engagement with President Macron of France, with Prime Minister Starmer of the United Kingdom, where they were talking about European boots on the ground, security guarantees for Ukraine, a positive movement towards ending this war, and having Ukraine and the United States being bound together for a generation economically, but what we made clear was that could not proceed, at least for now. And President Trump said in his announcement on X, when President Zelensky is ready to truly engage for peace, he's welcome back anytime.
There you go. And we'll see. Over the weekend, though, it didn't sound like Zelensky was all for, let's have peace. He keeps spinning a yarn that just, like, it's not going to happen. What world are you living in? Are you listening
he got bad advice, I'm telling you.
I think you're right.
Bad advice.
Like, do you think he was being coached by former Biden people and Europeans?
Absolutely, he was.
Well, here's one of the clips from Sky News over the weekend. This is Zelensky talking about what's going on.
If I am to be changed, and I'll hear, how can I put it? With what's happening with the support to change me, it will not be easy.
He's talking about him as president stepping down.
Because it is not enough to simply hold elections. You would need to prevent me from participating in the elections. And it will be a bit more difficult, so they'll have to negotiate with me. And I said that I'm exchanging it for NATO membership.
Wow.
And then it means that I fulfilled my mission.
I'll step down and we'll hold elections when you give us NATO membership.
You know, backing up what you asked if he was coached, I think more importantly, they told him, make an appeal to the American people, an emotional appeal. That's the wrong place and time to do it.
Right.
But they didn't care. I mean, they wanted it to look like that this regime fails Ukraine, not them. So it's just bizarre.
It really is bizarre. And
bitterness, anger.
Yeah, but I think Trump answered much like the American people wanted it.
Sure, I think he did. Hey, listen, any day I see the Panama Canal, we're going to see something about the Panama Canal. I think we're going to see Greenland. This is America first. It's about time because we got bigger fish to fry on the Pacific side.
I kind of think it backfired in those people's faces that really wanted it to blow up. Again, over the weekend, I've heard more and more people after watching that video love Donald Trump a little bit more.
Sure.
And say, you know what, he is the man. This is the man that America needs
listen,
right now.
normally, first, he would have probably beat his ass silly. But now he's just a statesman because he'll come back when he's ready to talk peace.
Right.
So.
And, what's fascinating is, like, how hopped up some folks still are on, like, hating and hissing at Putin, which I'm like, I'm not defending the guy. But he is the leader of a country that you're trying to
somebody we got to deal with,
negotiate the war with. He's one of the principals of the belligerents there. But they treat it like he's this, unreasonable. You can't talk to him at all. But what's amazing is we do have video from not that long ago. This was in 2013. This is Bill Clinton on CNN being asked by Piers Morgan about Putin. Let's listen in.
Look, Mr. Putin he's very smart.
Well, you know him better than most people.
Yeah, I do.
What was he like behind closed doors, away from, the sort of the public utterances?
Smart and remarkably, we had a really good, blunt relationship.
How blunt?
Brutally blunt.
Ever fisticuffs?
No, but I think, I think the right strategy most of the time but it's frustrating to people in your line of work. You should be brutally honest with people in private. Yep. And then if you want them to help you, try to avoid embarrassing them in public.
Right.
Now, sometimes they do things which make it impossible
like last week.
For you to keep quiet. But by and large, I found all the people I dealt with appreciated it if I told them the truth. How I honestly felt and what our interests were and what our objectives were. And they also appreciated it when I didn't kick them around in public for as long as I couldn't kick them around. So, that's my experience. And
did Putin ever renege on a personal agreement he made to you?
He did not.
So behind closed doors, he could be trusted?
He kept his word in all the deals we made.
Did he think he told the truth to the American people, though? When he said, I find it that people like it when I tell the truth. I'm like, that's double speak. Hey, you got to remember something about Putin. He's a trained counterintelligence. Here's the deal. He understands how to build rapport, and you've got to think like Putin. This is why I had so many people at the onset of this war. There's no way he's going to attack. Yes, he is. He's staging. He senses weakness. He is a opportunist.
Yes.
And that's all he is. And you can deal with that. You just got to know what you're dealing with.
Right. Yeah, and it's a matter of actually dealing with them. I think the last administration they projected this moral superiority while also projecting practical weakness.
Sure.
And that's the worst combination. You better not bluff in geopolitics.
For somebody like Putin, he'll eat that up.
Well, and I was a little shocked they did invade because I'm like, because the administration seems so confident, we'll figure this out or whatever. So those guys were just caught flat-footed.
All the military markers showed they were bringing forward divisional artillery, regimental artillery. This was not just an exercise. This was a staging. So,
And one of the most tragic things of this is I bet the outlines of a deal, they're still going to use the framework that was put together in
Original.
Istanbul
Yeah,
a month after the war
no
starts. So how many hundreds of thousands are dead now
unfortunate, yeah.
and maimed and deeply injured?
But I will say this: I've said it before. Any time you could attrit the Russian military aids us in our deals with China, and I can tell you, 75% of most of their heavy armor. They are projecting their stockpiles to be exhausted on anything mid 2025. So they don't have a coherent threatening force right now.
Well, we'll see if the negotiations actually there's a breakthrough, but hopefully it doesn't take too much time. Maybe something will be announced at the big speech tomorrow night,
Possible.
the whole
Maybe
State of the Union thing. It's more the posturing that has me troubled.
Yeah.
That we've been posturing like we're the best.
Yeah.
And nobody can touch us, and don't you dare do a thing America doesn't like. And it's like, you can be that way, but do you have the stuff to back it up?
That's right.
Yep. And I've always thought that, like, lately it seems like we're more posturing. And I mean, this is a little rude, but I wrote a piece after the war broke out, and I described a lot of the West leaders, and I'm taking it from just me watching American foreign policy, the top sort of elite stuff, as sheep in wolf's clothing, and they're wearing wolf pelts that their grandfathers killed. Like they're the badasses who went out there and did it. And it's like, no. That is not the same thing. So hopefully there is a change. One thing that I'm very heartened by is it's like we're getting back to the Western way of war, which is it's not a fair fight. It's going to be overwhelming force. We will utterly destroy you, and then we'll bring our people home. The whole point is to keep our people safe and end this thing as quick as possible.
Absolutely.
Where, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I saw on the Sean Ryan podcast, one guy saying when we adopt the CIA plan to go into Afghanistan with unconventional warfare, and essentially they talk about the operators painting a target, it's seconds for it to actually get aircraft. And
it's how it works. Yeah.
But then as it stretched out, it became hours, it became days, it became weeks, it became never to get authorization to do these.
After the initial phase of past like Operation Anaconda, which I was at in the beginning of the war, it became more difficult to get what we call ROE, which is rules of engagement, to clarify. Now, here's the deal, though. Let me say this. Iraq was a disaster in ROE versus Afghanistan. Because here's the deal. If you're getting shot at in Afghanistan, you can just light up the area with a Modus or a Mark 19 because there's no collateral damage. You're in the middle of nowhere. But let me tell you, they changed their TTPs, which is their techniques and tactics and procedures, to fire at us from public buildings, knowing we're not going to be able to return that fire with counter, because we got counter battery fire balloons with radars, and if you shoot any indirect weapon, we know exactly triangulating where it's at. We can put one down your tube.
Man, and yet tying the hands of our
that's terrible
military is, I think you're going to get a bunch of people killed. You're not going to solve the problem. And it also shows that we are much, correct me if I'm wrong, again, we're much more built for moving fast and destroying something. We're not built to be an occupying power where you sit there and police every street.
I was on Phil Williams the other day, and I told him this. I said, Phil, where we went wrong was when we made our military nation builders instead of nation destroyers. That's what we are geared to do: put steel on target, find, fix the enemy, and destroy. And the thing is, now we got them in provincial reconstruction teams building wells. That's not what we were there for.
Right.
And that's when things got sideways.
Well, and then you go, like, Japan's interesting because we never fully invaded the island.
Right.
And so I think that relationship, it's worked out very well. But if you look at the history of denazification in Germany, it's not
rough.
pretty.
It was rough. There's a lot of stories.
Yeah, it's not all these RE that ties everybody hand. No. And I think in some ways we've had it too easy. Well, especially the average American's not actually fought. That it doesn't actually understand the situations. They just see the moral preening and posturing put out on the TV.
Do you remember in Dark Knight Rises? I always use that. I always love Bane. I love his character in there. And do you remember when they're fighting on the walkway and the cat girl's in the cage, and and Batman's striking him, and Bane's going, these are customary strikes. He says, victory has defeated you, making you weak, making you weak. And that's really, we dumbed down our military to what they call a contemporary operating environment instead of a bipolar world. And now it's really weak. And I think under Hegseth, they're going to go back to brigade combat teams and divisional teams, and we'll be ready to put steel on target.
272-9228. We got to hit this break. But first, this entire hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. Actually, had somebody call me when I was producing earlier asking, what's Kim's last name?
Oh, nice.
Kim Williams there at Alabama Home Mortgage. And, of course, Madeline Cannon ready to help you as well, whether you're looking to buy a home or you're looking to refinance that home. And if you're a veteran, they have veterans in their blood there. They take it very seriously, helping veterans take advantage of benefits that y'all earn through your service. It is the best deal. Like, you're not going to beat it. So if you're a veteran, you haven't taken advantage of these benefits, you're leaving money on the table. And you think people, I think the whole VA medical side of things has got people thinking, oh, the VA will take forever. No, it's what, average 16 days turnaround on a refinance deal? So if you're looking to get credit card debt off your back, or you just want to have a different financial footing, they can help you there with Alabama Home Mortgage. Give them a call today at 567-4223. It all begins with just a simple conversation at 567-4223, or you can apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
I've been doing electrical work for 8 years, 7 years, 6 years, 23 years. I love troubleshooting. It's one of my passions.
Electrical is all I do, unless my wife asks me to do something at home. Together, there's nothing that we can't figure out or accomplish.
We've seen it all here at Mr. Electric. Going in with the confidence to know it doesn't matter what I'm going to run into, I'm going to figure it out, and confidently telling that customer, you know, we got you taken care of. Mr. Electric,
power to make things better. Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit alabamasheriffsyouthranches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. This day will get better and better, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. It's cloudy and then mostly sunny later. Today's high temperature up to about 69. Partly cloudy, 44 for a low tonight. Limited sunshine tomorrow, but warmer, high 78. Wind advisory begins tomorrow afternoon with wind gusts to 35 miles per hour at daytime, maybe up to 40 miles per hour in the evening. Then a line of showers and storms will move in later on Tuesday night with some of the storms strong, possibly severe, including the threat of tornadoes. Our weather app will keep you on top of the action. For now, from the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon, or as we call this show online, Joey Clark Live. And it wasn't just Elon Musk who was recently on the Joe Rogan Experience. Bill Murray.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a bunch of clips from Bill.
And in particular, there's one clip that I think pertains to politics. And it's like, I don't think Bill Murray's some, like, big conservative guy. That doesn't seem to be his culture, and especially the era he was in and got famous. I'd imagine he very much believed, like, the whole Watergate narrative, like all this stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Well, this clip is, I think, the most viral from his recent visit with Joe Rogan. And it brings up how the myth-making back in that time, especially Bob Woodward, the former naval intelligence officer, all of a sudden gets a big story dropped in his lap and becomes the principal reporter for the Washington Post. That's interesting.
Amazing.
Well, here's Bill Murray talking about Woodward's book about John Belushi, his good friend.
Wired.
Let's listen in.
When I read Wired, the book written by, Woodward, about Belushi, I read like 5 pages of Wired, and I went, oh my God, they framed Nixon. All of a sudden I went, oh my God, if this is what he writes about my friend that I've known, for half my adult life, which is completely inaccurate, talking to like the people of the outer circle getting the story. What the hell could they have done to Nixon? I just felt like if he did this to my friend like this, and I acknowledge I only read 5 pages, but the 5 pages I read, made me want to set fire to the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's fascinating how Woodward has got this cottage industry where he essentially threatens everybody. If you don't play ball, I'll just make it up and use some anonymous source that's, on the outside.
It's worked very well.
It's worked, yeah.
And a lot of folks from the Trump administration were calling him out for that, saying that he clearly is making stuff up, or it's awfully convenient how the folks that do talk to him always sound like heroes in their own mind. It's so if you go back to that era, you look at Nixon being paranoid, Nixon could have done things a lot better.
Was he though?
But I think Nixon is that moment, and especially the Watergate scandal, is when the corporate media, which was very strong back then,
absolutely,
realized we can take down presidents. And it added, and working with the intelligence community, we can bring down presidents.
Yep.
And I think every president since has been well aware of that. So we'll play ball. The one that played the game masterfully was, of course, Ronald Reagan. But you look at how they treated Bush in particular.
Especially post-Katrina.
Right, or how they kept Clinton afloat after he's lying under oath and whatnot.
We all know what happened. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and I don't care. They always go, oh, it's just about a BJ. It's just about a BJ. But Lindsey Graham at the time, he was a House manager of the impeachment.
It's not just about sex.
It's not. But they defended him. And then you look, Bush was Hitler, right?
Yeah.
Mitt Romney was the next Hitler, right?
Glad we dodged that one.
And you can still see the same playbook being thrown out there. Think of Trump's first term, where it's like we got insiders in the intelligence community at CIA, FBI, other, say, top positions, leaking information to David Ignatius and other folks, say, at the New York Times and the Washington Post. And they win a Pulitzer for this information being handed to them by the intelligence to bring down a president.
Sure.
And thank God, that's what's amazing about this guy. I guess he's now announcing a $100 billion chip maker investment. That's happening live.
Yep.
But this guy survived it. And he broke it now.
It's funny because what is it with rogue naval intelligence officers? Connor Stallions was the guy at Michigan that was stealing Ohio State signs and stuff. We just got a bunch of thugs running around out there, the Navy. So we'll have to ask the Admiral about that. I mean, what's wrong with these rogues? That would never fly in the U.S. Army or the Marine Corps.
Yeah, Admiral Kent Davis joining us after 2 o'clock. But a new chip maker, $100 billion investment.
Nice.
I think that's in Columbus, right outside of Columbus, Ohio, is where that's being. I have family up there, and they said it's a ginormous building.
Well, and that's what Vivek Ramaswamy is now running for governor there.
Absolutely.
Said he wants to bring back big, advanced manufacturing to the state of Ohio.
Absolutely.
Needs to, man. Really needs to.
I love seeing these new ideas. I love this strategic crypto reserve. I think it's a genius idea, that long-term building of wealth over time instead of just constantly taxing people and printing money. I think it's a great idea. But we'll see. It's just remarkable that an old say, not ready for primetime players, Bill Murray, is sitting there reading a book about his best friend, and he goes, I think they framed Nixon.
That's great.
And he's now sounding like a McCarthyite right-winger. But when it happens to you personally, when you see the hit job done on things you know personally, firsthand, you can't ignore it. You're always going to be awake to that for the rest of your life.
You got to think he probably did have a profound impact on Bill Murray. He's probably left center, but he's probably like, what the hell else were they lying about?
Yeah, right.
Right.
And you got to wonder, what's the next big lie coming? But, oh, wow, that's why I was waiting. It's now saying on Fox Business, it's TSMC. That's the Taiwan Semiconductor company. So TSMC is the most advanced.
They are.
Like the Koreans tried, the Japanese tried, we tried with the CHIPS Act here, and they're building up, but the most advanced stuff, especially needed for these AI battery or AI computer hubs. I mean, these things are. Go look up the video on the one Musk and team stood up in Memphis. It's incredible. Really amazing how quickly they did it. But if TSMC is now investing $100 billion in the U.S., they are the cutting edge in that technology. That is a huge, huge announcement.
I heard that they're bringing their manufacturing systems and lines to that facility in Columbus, Ohio, to help get our native production. So yeah.
Well, and I was telling you all off air, I was messing around with the new features on Grok. It's good. With ChatGPT, it went from like, oh, this is kind of interesting and like a fun thing. But after trying to use it, I'm like, this doesn't, it's not that useful of a tool at this point. It's more a novelty. I used Grok over the weekend to just help not write pieces.
Right.
But I plugged in about 87 of my essays I've written over 3 years and had it do essentially a meta-analysis. Like show an arc of themes. Where are my blind spots? What themes do I need to develop more? And then give me a psychological profile of the author. Like, so if I'm plugging in 80,000 words into this thing, and it's amazing how well it works. It's remarkable.
It's got the deep search capability.
Yeah,
it might take. I threw a couple things at it the other day, and my friend Shane was showing me it. And the thing about it is, it really gets into the ChatBGT was a broad overview of things. This is deep dives. It deep dives. It does.
Well, and the new voice functions they have with this new Grok are great. I mean, some are not safe for work.
Right.
Like there's here, I can pull it up. I don't need to actually engage it. But if you want to do voice, you can do the normal assistant, storyteller. So it'll tell you a long story about something, romantic, meditation, conspiracy. So you can be like talking to a conspiracy theorist, not a therapist, which is actually like you're talking to a therapist, not a doctor, which you can say if you get your lab results back from the doctor, you can
talk to him.
You can put it in there. Unhinged, which I was playing with the other day. Nice. It'll just start cursing you out and like having fun. 18 plus sexy.
18 plus sexy.
Yeah, no, I was like, how you doing today? It's like, I don't know. How are you? You sound like you're in the mood. I'm like, whoa.
Want to exchange pictures?
Whoa.
Wow.
And then the other one's motivation and then argumentative. I argued with this thing for like 30 minutes because it was so much fun. It was like arguing with a caller, but it was a lot smarter. And like it was just, I'm like, okay, this is an amazing tool. Like in fun ways, but also in very useful ways. And this is just the beginning.
Yep.
This is just the beginning. We're getting advanced chip hubs now to be able to stand up more of these AI structures.
Yeah.
Who knows what's next? I don't know. 272-9228. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
It's Papa B.
Hey, Papa B.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
You know, I think that some folks, maybe, not y'all, not me, but some folks, you know, when they say the media and, you know, the intelligence community and, you know, try to make these division type, you know, analogies, this is the flora and fauna of Washington, D.C. They come and they go all over the place. The people that are in the intelligence, quote-unquote, community today are in the media companies tomorrow. Or they're in, you know, some other service of some kind, and they bring all of their gobbledygook with them and their goals and aspirations and their, you know, service, if they call it that. It's not like it's sterile or sterile environment at all. And so How am I wrong about that, first of all?
That's cross-contamination, and it's very real. I worked, a lot of my friends would move on to private sector jobs, and a lot of them were influencers. So you're right. You're right, Papa B.
So, all right, so carry that, just let's take a look back real quick. And you remember the Durham trial.
Sure.
Okay, and how here was a guy that totally flat-faced lied to the American people and to this quote-unquote intelligence community. And, the people that he was tried before, the jury, they found nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Well, of course they shouldn't. They're liars too. They have no problem. And they have no problem seeing that he did anything wrong. He, in fact, the FBI, I think it was, that, carried all that, all that rush stuff forward. They didn't actually, they knew the lie that they wanted told, but they couldn't tell it to themselves. So they went out and hired somebody, another agent that's not on duty or whatever, to lie to them, and tell them the lie that they wanted to hear, so they could go and then start saying, "Oh yeah, well, something to this. We've got to investigate." Blah 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 blah. Yeah, that's such a conglomeration of wicked activity.
Yeah, man.
I mean, just one thing after another, and then, yeah, he lied. Okay, on trial. Now they should have brought him down here to Wetumpka, Alabama, to try it.
Yeah, that would be a jury of his peers.
Anywhere but Washington, D.C., he might have got found guilty, for heaven's sake. Why did he take him up there? Did he know they weren't going to find him guilty? Was he part of a actor like, yeah, we know they're not going to find him guilty, but we're going to show everybody that they're not going to find him guilty? I don't think so. I think he just didn't want to find him guilty of anything. Durham might be part of it, too. It must be, because that was the stupidest thing I ever saw. That's the stupidest thing I saw since the O.J. trial. If it don't fit, you must have quit.
That's right.
Anyway, yeah, this is all in the stew pot, baby. And so, when people recognize that, and I think they pretty much are nowadays, it is amazing now, looking at everything that's transpired, that first of all, President Trump survived.
Yeah.
And second of all, that he has taken these suckers down. I mean, it's like a rodeo champion. You know how you do a calf roping event?
Mm-hmm.
You see them rope the calf, jump off the horse, run down the line, around their feet, and there's the calf on the floor. That's what's happened. They just are laying there like, what happened? It's an act of God, just about. All right, guys. Well,
Appreciate
thanks a lot for letting me get on and do a little bit here, okay?
See you, bud.
And just seeing more for this press conference. Now, Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary, now David Sachs, the AI crypto czar. TSMC is going to be building 5 factories.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
That's a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. That really is.
Yep.
And we'll see, what's going to come out. I have a feeling they've saved some special announcement for the big speech tomorrow when all sorts of folks are tuning in. But it seems like we're going in the right direction, other than I think the stumbling block really is going to be your FBI and certain parts of intelligence. They don't want to be messed with.
Yeah.
I really do. I love Tulsi Gabbard. I think that
she's the right person for that.
Is the right person, indeed.
I've shared that position has been marginalized by the bureaucrats that control the intelligence community, but I have a feeling she's going to put a boot up people's butts.
And now it's not just Kash Patel, who I think did great work during the Russiagate thing. It's Dan Bongino.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, how did that not leak? Like, everything leaks in that town. How did that caught everybody by surprise? And then, he's just a talk radio host. I'm like, no, I'm just a talk radio host. When that guy started going over his CV, I'm like,
he's pretty impressive.
Crap.
He's pretty impressive, yeah.
So I don't think it's the wrong people. I'm just thinking as soon as you try to actually command these places, like it's a true, command structured organization, I have a feeling, though, it is compartmentalized in a way where they're getting rid of
Well,
stuff.
that's the thing is, it is an organizational. There is a structure to it, but it's decentralized. It's not decentralized. It's disconnected from the main command. And the thing is, I'm going to be honest with you, that Tulsi could probably go through 4 years and still not even know what some of the programs are. They can hide real deep down in. And that's, what do? You're going to have to overhaul. You got to gut it.
Right. Well, and maybe there will be consolidation. How many? We have 18 intelligence?
We have 18 alphabet intelligence agencies, and then there is a myriad of other agencies that do kind of quasi-intelligence stuff too.
And it's always funny, like when they come out and we all agree on the intelligence here, and it's like, I have a sneaking suspicion that lower level analysts who really did the work at all these different agencies do not agree with each other.
No, absolutely not.
Y'all just massaged it as it went up the chain, so we give a politically correct thing or palatable thing that we can say.
So you have something called all-source intelligence, which is you combine signals intelligence, measurement signatures intelligence, human intelligence, ELINT, all these different fields, and then you get a product. And I can tell you this, the making of a product from all these agencies is a real, it's like building it's like the wiener dog. God played a trick on it.
Yes.
I got this great nose, but I can't go very fast. That's kind of what it is. So.
I can get rabbits.
I can get weasels.
Yeah. 272-9228 if you want to get on the conversation. This part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And there at River Region Contracting, Todd Clark and the team are ready to help you out with that roof of yours. Whether it's an asphalt or metal roof, that's asphalt shingles.
Right.
You need to have it inspected on a regular basis, just for peace of mind and to make sure you're getting ahead of any problem before it becomes a really expensive one. Or God forbid, you've let it fester for so long, the insurance company goes, nope, you were negligent.
Yeah.
You don't want to have that realization. So just get River Region Contracting out there. They're not associated with any other roofing company here in the area. That's Todd Clark and the team at River Region Contracting. And the great news is their inspections and estimates are always free, and they're insurance specialists, so they can walk you through that claims process, make it a swift and easy, even pleasurable experience. You're like, man, can we do that again?
Yeah.
Call them up at 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell Todd Clark and the team that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Is your business feeling the heat of cyber attacks? Tired of worrying about ransomware, data breaches, downtime, and employee mistakes? GTI Managed IT Solutions has been your trusted partner since 1999, safeguarding and supporting businesses like yours from the ever-evolving threats in the digital world. GTI, your peace of mind is guaranteed. Call us today at 819-4650 or visit gtinow.com.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are y'all?
Oh, we're surviving. We're surviving. You have a good weekend?
I did. It was beautiful. It's so nice to have weather that is conducive to go outside and getting in trouble.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah, actually cooperating. So what's the score there today, Cohen?
It's 28-7. I'll tell you, Michael Jackson has been running this morning. He's going to be through in a little bit, and I had a nice little lady that came in, and her TV went out yesterday, and anyway, he's going to swoop by, pick up her new one, and get it installed before he goes home today. So
nice.
That'll all be good. Yeah, it's nice when little things like that can work out, and she doesn't have to do without her TV, and he can get in and get it done for her.
Well, I've seen Michael Jackson work myself, and that guy, he knows what he's doing. And when you're buying one of those big ticket items, folks, especially that TV you've always wanted, a new sound system, you want it set up right.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes the TV's so big, you're like, how do I get this home?
Yes.
So why not have Michael Jackson come out? And I really seen the guy in action. He knows what he's doing. I think he does it a lot.
You know, it always tickles me because customers always ask, when he gets through delivering, will he haul off the broke one? And I'm like, well, of course. And, that just lets me know that my competitors are not.
Right. Right. Sure.
And, but no, we'll just put it on the street and all your friends and neighbors can know that you got a new TV, so they'll know where to come when you leave.
That's exactly right.
So y'all check out Cohen's today. You can always go to thinkcohens.com, but I really encourage you to stop by the Boulevard, see him in person at 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. Yep. Open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And find Michael and be like, hey, I heard you on that radio show with Joey and Eddie and Troy for bonus points.
Fantastic. Y'all come see us and let us help you make the right choice for whatever your needs are.
Appreciate it, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. See you, buddy.
Again, we should have Admiral Kent Davis calling in a little bit after the top of the hour break. And also, Troy, you have an op-ed coming out, too, at 1819news.com that you're going to read to the audience?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and throw it out there. I just think it segues nicely into it with the Admiral coming on. But it's the title of it's Think the Thinkable, Time for Ivy to Resign. Well, I didn't think that anyone could have a worse week politically than Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky after his disastrous visit to the White House. I was wrong. Governor Meemaw outdid even Zelensky. To start the week, she rescinded an invitation to the large and influential Alabama Federation of Republican Women to dine at the governor's mansion merely because they indicated that they would take a vote to resist her gutting of the State Board of Veterans Affairs via the Ivy devised SB 67. That brilliant political move merely optimized and continued her retaliation for the SBVA's support of the popular Commissioner of Veterans Affairs, Admiral Kent Davis, last fall. Her pettiness prompted Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth to once again step in and save face for the Republican Party by hosting an alternate event for the great ladies of the AFRW. If that were not enough, later in the week, Attorney General Steve Marshall blasted Ivy, noting angrily that he was astonished and bewildered at Ivy when she commuted the sentence of an inmate without even the professional courtesy of talking to him. After his office spent decades on this case, these latest embarrassing moments came on the heels of revelations that Ivy hasn't exactly been earning the taxpayer's salary that they pay her. The mobile-based Lagnia News revealed in a journal that events 3 p.m. All of this begs the question, as Joey Clark once eloquently put, who is actually calling the shots on Goat Hill? Is it Ivy and her spiteful, even hateful personality that seems to be affected by the decline of age? Or are her lapses in communication savvy instead being driven by her young and inexperienced 20-something communications director, Gina Mayola, or her horrible decisions regarding veterans in Alabama, now overwhelmingly opposed by most veterans organizations in the state and veterans, the veterans that they represent being driven by another youngster, Casey Rogers, Ivy's veteran liaison, although a non-veteran herself. Are there other DEI hires in her office calling the shots, or is it unelected finance director and Ivy senior advisor Bill Poole calling the shots behind the scenes, as some speculate? Who knows? But apparently it ain't fully that Gino K. Ivy is calling the shots. Meanwhile, Ivy's war on Alabama cherished military veterans continues unabated, all out of juvenile and needless retaliation for events that happened months ago. Petty acts all around that will most likely lead Alabama government into yet another round of embarrassing litigation and intervention by the federal government. And all of this dangerously at a time when Alabama is trying to land the headquarters for the new U.S. Space Command by wooing military and political rivals in D.C., leaders in D.C., and we find now that Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is challenging this move. What does this continued embarrassment lead us all? Where does it? As recently as 2 years ago, I would have thought the following unthinkable. Ivy should resign and turn over the reins of the executive branch to Ainsworth before more damage is done to the state's reputation and potential economic base. Now, with the historic legacies of her disastrous response to COVID debacle, remember her angrily blaming the unvaccinated for all our problems, her bullying of legislators to support her decidedly non-Doge-like gas tax, her continued alienation of the large Alabama veteran community, repeated communication failures, and increasing questions about her health. It is instead time to think the unthinkable. Ivy needs to step down, and unfortunately, it ain't that much of a high step down for her to do so now.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Very good.
We got to hit the stop hour break. Admiral Kent Davis should be joining us.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Israeli police say a man in his 60s was killed and 4 other people were wounded in a stabbing attack Monday in the northern Israeli city of Haifa. Police say they're treating this stabbing as a militant attack. A security guard and civilian killed the attacker. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has rallied his European counterparts to shore up their borders and throw their full weight behind Ukraine, as he announced outlines of a plan to end Russia's war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he believed the war would be going on for some time. The Vatican says Pope Francis has suffered 2 new episodes of acute respiratory crises and has been put back on non-invasive mechanical ventilation. Stocks sharply lower, the Dow dropping nearly 400 points. This is SRN News.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available in all states.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. This day will get better and better, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. It's cloudy and then mostly sunny later. Today's high temperature up to about 69. Partly cloudy, 44 for a low tonight. Limited sunshine tomorrow, but warmer, high 78. Wind advisory begins tomorrow afternoon with wind gusts to 35 miles per hour at daytime, maybe up to 40 miles per hour in the evening. Then a line of showers and storms will move in later on Tuesday night with some of the storms strong, possibly severe, including the threat of tornadoes. Our weather app will keep you on top of the action. For now, from the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
You can make your ASC loan payments from your phone anytime, anywhere. It's quick and easy. www.yourasccu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
1819 News.
A resident of Dadeville has now announced his plans to run for the open seat of state auditor for Alabama in the 2026 elections. Robert Lane McCullum has a Public Service Commission seat on 2 different occasions. He's now announcing his candidacy for state auditor. McCullum owns the RLM Land Management in Tallapoosa County and says that Alabama needs more in state government who know about making a payroll, working a hard, honest day's work, and dealing with the realities of Alabama life, and he says he does that every day. The current state auditor for Alabama is Andrew Sorrell, who will be running for Secretary of State in 2026, and the current Secretary of State, Wes Allen, recently announced that he will be running for Lieutenant Governor in 2026 instead of seeking a second term as Secretary of State. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Did you know that 70% of people experience a potentially traumatic event in their lifetime, and that 6 out of every 100 adults face PTSD every day? Help us bring hope to these survivors by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness license plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org. That's ATEASE.org.
A state lawmaker is offering a bill that is almost identical to an executive order issued by President Trump on the federal level. HB 244 is designed to remove radical gender and racial ideology from public schools. The bill prohibits the state from using this type of curriculum within K through 12 public schools, and it also bans the use of flags or symbols related to sexual orientation or gender ideology on school property. Teachers would also be required to use the pronouns that correspond with a student's biological sex. The House Education Policy Committee will consider this bill sometime this month. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Before you buy new floors at a discount store and get them installed by the cousin of a friend who does this kind of thing, consider the better option. Prattville Carpet carries the most reputable brands for selection, style, and quality you can trust. And with their non-transferable lifetime installation warranty, you'll never have to worry about hardwood warping or carpet buckling. Your floors will stay as beautiful as the day they installed them.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Final hour of the program here. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Eddie Bader and Troy Carrico here in the studio with me. And we got one more hour to go. And joining us to kick off the hour, we have a returning guest here to the program, Admiral Kent Davis. Sir, how you doing today?
Hey, Joey. Hey, Eddie and Troy. How are y'all?
Doing great. How you doing?
Good. Life's pretty good. I can't complain too much. But we wanted to kind of just pick your brain of what's going on with this overhaul. It's now this bill is in the House. I don't think it was on the calendar for today, but where do you see this going next?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've heard that there is a little trepidation about the bill, that maybe people are thinking, maybe we've rushed into this and we maybe need to step back a little bit and take another look at it. I hope that cooler heads prevail and that they do take a deep dive look into it and think, I'm not sure this fits into a holistic approach to improving services for veterans in the state of Alabama. I think there are better ways of doing that. And I would urge everybody just to kind of take that second look at this, perhaps come back later on with improvements on how we can help veterans in the state of Alabama. This seems to be politically motivated and awfully rushed in this process.
And has there, been any communication with the governor's office? Has there been, it just seems like everybody's sort of entrenched right now and they're just trying to power this thing through at the moment?
Well, look, this is my observation that the governor's office seems to have some communication issues lately. I just heard Troy talking about Steve Marshall's blow up with the governor's office last week. I don't know what's going on over there. The communication seems to have broken down. I will tell you, back in the fall, when I had my blow up with the governor's office, I never had a conversation with the governor, not once. Didn't talk to her. She didn't reach out. She just summarily canned me before any conversation. I think if I had been able to sit down with her and her staff, I could have explained things, but they didn't seem interested in listening, to be honest with you. So I think the same thing is going on here. I think people have backed themselves into a corner. Emotions have taken over, and they're not willing to bring all the people in that really need to be at the table discussing this and working out a real compromise that benefits veterans going forward. As I said last week, anger is not a real good motivation a lot of times for legislation, and it seems like there's a lot of anger behind this. And people, I think, just need to take a deep breath and start talking again.
Is there, like, not to try to lay out the whole bill right here on the show, but is there something that could be reasonably, like some agreement that could everybody could come to?
Yeah, I've heard several proposals. One of them is putting together a committee made up of legislators and people from the veterans community and from the governor's office to study what are the real needs of veterans in the state. The legislature has done that many a time before, and the governor's office has done that. They've done it with gambling, with mental health issues. I don't know why they can't do that with this. Most people seem happy with the state's provision of veteran services. There's always room for improvement, but I think if they put together a committee and studied this and came back at a later date with real recommendations that everybody can agree to, that would be a great step in the right direction. I've heard one compromise being that, okay, how about this? The State Board of Veterans Affairs puts together a list of candidates that they submit to the governor when choosing a commissioner and let the governor make the final choice. And by the way, that's the compromise that they all came up with for the state's public health officer, which was very controversial. So I don't know why they can't seem to have the same mentality dealing with the commissioner of Veterans Affairs.
Because that wouldn't fit into their financial goals, probably. There would be no way to politicize it that way. And, you know, I want to share something with you, Joey, and I think Admiral, I told him about this the other day. I had, after I met with Pat Harris at the Senate, I was intercepted by Ed Oliver, Representative Alexander City, and Kenneth Paschal, who both co-sponsored that bill. And they tried to hard sell me for about 45 minutes on the why the bill was good. And here was the takeaway that I kept thinking about. And I want to throw this out, Joey. Ed says, we've made this as good as it can get. There's no way to make it better. They're not in a receive mode. They're in a mission accomplished mode, or the heads will roll from the governor's office. And that's what this is about.
Well, let me add to that, Troy. I'm not the guy to talk about this with them. Obviously, they're entrenched, and I've been painted as, you know, some kind of SOB in all of this. I don't know why. I've done nothing but try to help veterans in the state. Ed Oliver has told people he refuses to talk to me. I don't know why he's got a beef against me. I've been nothing but cordial to the man. I think he's entrenched on this, and I think he's getting incredible pressure from the governor's office, like Senator Jones did on the Senate side. And that's tough. We've seen that before with the governor's office with the gas tax. That's a tough battle. I do think there is still room for compromise and alternative solutions here, but I would just hope that people are willing to listen.
Well, we'll see. And, you know, one thing I haven't asked about in a little while, is it still possible there might be some legal action brought about your dismissal?
Yeah, that's coming. And that's unfortunate because it didn't have to get to this point. This could have been resolved. My personal situation and the situation with Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs could have been resolved cordially in a professional manner, but nobody was willing to communicate on this over in the governor's office. Like I said, I've never had a conversation with the governor about any of this. You know, I would think when you remove an executive branch head, you would at least have the professional courtesy to say, I need to talk to you. But that didn't happen.
And to see the pattern of, like, as you brought it up, Troy, the Attorney General, Steve Marshall, is spitting mad that, like, you didn't even communicate with me before you commuted this guy's sentence, or you commuted the death penalty. And, like, why wouldn't you can still, I guess, make the decision as governor, but why not confer with your agent?
Well, I think and Kent's defense, I would say this. There's a pattern in practice of modus operandi by this administration to do nasty things like Cinco de Mayo. You remember our good friend, Colonel DeMeo?
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen without any respect for federal or decorum of anything? And this is what we have. We have a rogue, dystopian, draconian dictatorship right now in the state.
Well, I don't get it at all. You brought up three examples. Steve Marshall, a distinguished career. I think he's a great gentleman, done great things. To not have the courtesy to communicate with a senior official like that, I don't understand. The situation with Colonel DeMeo was, I think, handled very, very poorly. And there is a pattern in practice there where generalities are thrown out, accusations thrown out that are not true, with no chance, no due process to defend yourselves. And I think even some defamatory things said, I don't find that very professional. I say that as the retired vice chief of information, the second in command of public affairs for the Navy, where you just don't treat people that way. And if you're in a professional environment, you communicate and you work things out. And in the end, you may agree to disagree, but at least give a chance for people to sit down and have a rational discussion about things.
And going back to the board real quick, I believe the current structures existed, since
80 years.
The 40s?
80 years after
Wow.
World War II.
Yep, 1945.
It worked great.
It was established by World War II veterans in the American Legion coming back from World War II, and it's worked well for 80 years. But somehow this is a solution in search of a problem where they want to overturn that 80 years that's worked pretty well for veterans in the state of Alabama. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. And we'll see. We'll keep watching this and definitely stay in touch, Admiral. Anything else before I let you go?
Listen, Troy, you're going to appreciate this. All right, I heard you dissing the Navy a little while ago.
I was going to ask you about that. What's up with these rogue naval officers, these naval intelligence types?
Every once in a while, my wife's a retired intelligence officer.
Well, she's a good one, though. I like Lisa. I like Lisa. She's good. She's one of us.
All right, I want you to hear this. I'm trying to make up for it. I just literally walked in the door right before this call. I came from the Navy recruiting office, where I had the great honor of swearing in a new sailor and delivering the oath of office.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Good way to end this conversation, but I'm certainly thinking it's not our last conversation. Always appreciate the time, Admiral.
Thanks so much, Joy. I'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.
Again, that's Admiral Kent Davis. And the saga continues, folks. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Welcoming back to the show, this part of the program brought to you by Dr. Tom Pershing.
That's right.
That's a new one.
Great chiropractor.
Great
here.
chiropractor.
And he's now got an office right here in Montgomery.
Yep. My wife had to use him after an accident probably about a year or so ago. And great. Amazing results. Amazing results.
He does wonderful work, and he's got decades and decades of experience, not only practicing as a chiropractor, but he's taught the art as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, when you teach it, you're learning it all over again yourself. And so if you go to drpershing.net, that's drpershing.net, you can see all they have on offer, from spinal adjustments to Gunstead adjustments, which is a therapy that restores spinal alignment and mobility by using precise hand contact points, allowing comprehensive manipulation of the pelvis and lower back. They also have, more cutting edge stuff like acoustic wave therapy.
Yes.
Are delivered directly to have y'all ever had, I'd imagine you have trigger point pain? That knotted.
It's such a miracle if you find it.
Or it could be you need spinal decompression, treats the lower back pain and related to spinal disc problems. And I'm just scratching the surface here. If you're looking for somebody with years and years of experience, where we've had friends, as you just said, your wife, Dr. Charles Pershing has treated her. He brings that years of experience to chiropractic care. You can just call him up direct at 676-1490. That's 676-1490. Of course, you can request an appointment online at drpershing.net. That's drpershing.net. And be sure to tell him when you get in touch that you tell him that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. How about this? Let's hit a quick break. Reset things. We'll be right back.
Want to carry news talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Hi there, I'm Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. Getting pre-approved is the first step towards home ownership. People are often scared or nervous about taking that first step, but I'll tell you, it's nothing to be scared of. At Alabama Home Mortgage, we will take the first step and every step along the way with you. Call us at 567-4223. We will gather the information needed to tell you exactly what you qualify for. After a call to Alabama Home Mortgage, you will know what price point to shop for, what down payment is required, if any, and what your monthly mortgage payment will look like. We take all the guessing out of it. Then, when you find the house you want to make your home, you are ready to make an offer. Along with your offer, you will submit your Alabama Home Mortgage pre-approval letter. This shows sellers that you've already taken the steps necessary to ensure that you qualify to purchase their home. Wait no longer. It's time to take that first step together. Call me at 567-4223 or start the process online at myalabamahomemortgage.com.
That's Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of H&H Carpets across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway, where right now you can get 1,050 square feet of carpet installed for $19.95 only at H&H Carpets in Montgomery.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. This day will get better and better, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. It's cloudy and then mostly sunny later. Today's high temperature up to about 69. Partly cloudy, 44 for a low tonight. Limited sunshine tomorrow, but warmer, high 78. Wind advisory begins tomorrow afternoon with wind gusts at 35 miles per hour at daytime, maybe up to 40 miles per hour in the evening. Then a line of showers and storms will move in later on Tuesday night with some of the storms strong, possibly severe, including the threat of tornadoes. Our weather app will keep you on top of the action. For now, from the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1, WACV, News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Oh, welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. And it just came out that Trump is going to announce a breakthrough and a deal with Ukraine at the joint session, or the State of the Union, essentially, is what they're doing.
Oh, tonight? Okay.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Is
Tomorrow,
when
State
that'll
of the
be
Union.
going on.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm probably going to watch it. I'll watch it live.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Why not watch it live? Because it's just, what a time. Like, this is unique, at least of all the presidents I've been able to watch.
Absolutely.
How quickly they are moving. Looking at 1819 News on the latest stuff, Elon Musk, Doge, cancels 13 more federal office leases in Alabama.
Were these empty offices?
Or, yeah, either are not being heavily used. Here, we can read into it. According to Doge, the new lease cancellations in Alabama include facilities used by the Office of the U.S. Attorneys, the IRS, and the Farm Service Agency. I've never heard of the Farm Service Agency.
Total savings.
Doge previous lease cancellations reported by 1819 News last week amounted to about $5 million in total savings. A Federal General Services Administration spokesperson told 1819 News on Monday, acting administrator Ehikians, Ehikian, Ehikians, yeah. Vision for GSA includes reducing our deferred maintenance liabilities, supporting the return of to office of federal employees, and taking advantage of a stronger private/government partnership in managing the workforce of the future. So here's the full list. In Montgomery, Office of U.S. Attorneys, that's a $3 million lease. Farm Services in Montgomery, that's a $3 million. IRS in Montgomery, $1.2 million.
Look at all this.
Forest Service, about $800,000 in Montgomery again. Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, about $158,000. And a few more in Mobile, Daphne, Birmingham.
$1.7 million in Birmingham.
Phew.
The only downside from a realtor's point of view is commercial real estate's hard enough to lease now.
Yeah, sure it is. Let me tell you a little story about the GSA, though. I was negotiating with the GSA when we opened up a new facility for the Corps of Engineers in Winchester, Virginia. It was a big warehouse area, and we set up offices. And it's amazing. Listen, they're going to find a lot of shit that's not being used. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, you got 50,000 square feet and you're doing nothing. We're paying how much a month for it?
And a lot of that is their leadership changes, and it just never got caught up.
Absolutely.
Again, 272-9228. Just seeing what is coming out here at 1819 News. This is now trending there. Ivy's VA takeover bill sponsor in the Senate, State Senator Jones, defeated an AL GOP district chair election. Oh, April Marie Fogel writing this up. Saying the Alabama Republican Party held its annual Alabama Republican Party State Executive Committee winter meeting on Saturday at the River Chase Galleria's Hyatt Regency in Hoover. You ever been up there?
I have not.
No, me either. Never really find reason to go to Hoover.
I got some family up there. That's why I drive around it.
You like seeing them?
No, I drive around it.
The executive...
That kind of
thought you had a place there.
That kind of family.
Only in the winter.
The executive committee is just over 500 people, having grown over the last 4 years. According to sources, there were 400 members present at the meeting. Party movers and shakers were closely watching the race for Congressional District 3, anticipating a runoff among the three candidates, a possibility that ultimately did not materialize. State Senator Andrew Jones, State Rep Joe Lavorne, and Denise Bates, the chairwoman of the Tallapoosa County Republicans, all ran for the seat. The winner will replace State Senator Lance Bell. The congressional district races are held in 7 district rooms, and each contest is moderated by the current chair. I mean, this may be rude, but I just sometimes I read stuff and I just can't help. Nerd alert.
Nerd alert.
Like, my goodness. I don't think I'll ever be a party man. That's just not.
Yeah, not for you.
Yeah, I mean, you know me pretty well. You've gotten to know me.
If you're libertarian, you don't have a party. It's you're a sovereign individual. That's what I am.
That's a good way to put it.
Come and take it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that.
But sources tell 1819 News that Jones's sponsorship and continued support of the controversial Veterans Affairs Bill was a key factor in helping Laverne reach over 50% plus to avoid a runoff. It's unclear if Jones' loss was due to blowback from supporters of the Alabama Federation of Republican Women. I think of all the stuff, it's that sort of thing that I woke up more and more folks.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a dinner. It's like people
but they're
women.
They're power movers, dude. They have some serious clout.
Yeah. And good on Lieutenant Governor Ainsworth stepping up and providing a last-minute venue.
Yeah.
And I think the Montgomery Country Club's undergone renovation, so it's looking pretty good these days, which that's an old building. I was there before the renovations, so they were needed.
Yes.
Just to put it
say the
mildly.
least, yes.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Bushwood.
So, there is some reaction from the grassroots, from the actual folks running the Alabama Republican Party about what the governor's office is trying to push through. We'll see. And what did y'all make of, this filibuster that happened in the Senate last week, where it was 6 hours of ranting and raving about Doge and Elon Musk, and Elon's going to bring apartheid to the United States, and y'all are acting like the old Confederacy, and yada, yada, and Bobby Singleton, of course. And, I mean, Booby knows. He's like, y'all are like the old Confederacy. See you at dinner later?
Right.
I mean, come on. And I think the reason the Republicans let them do it is just look at him. Listen to the guy. It's pretty good PR for the Republicans.
Let them keep talking.
Right. I mean, it doesn't.
Keep talking, man.
Ones like that, you just let them run their mouths. All right, go ahead.
But State Senator Chris Elliott from Josephine.
Yep.
He said the Alabama State Senate, of course, faced its first major showdown on Thursday. That's when Smitherman and Booby Singleton took to the floor to prevent the body from considering Senate Bill 5. If SB 5 passes, it would change the selection of the current unchecked Alabama Department of Archives and History's Board of Trustees. I know some folks that work over there.
Yeah.
It's actually not a bad department.
That's a very good department.
But and they also got some, I don't know. I think Elliott is upset about, they did a lot of the DEI and LGBT stuff.
They did.
And so it's okay. But he said, I mean, what's likely to happen in some portion of some negotiation, and then there are options like cloture, which is the nuclear option that puts us in a very combative posture, which is very difficult to move pieces of legislation along. So we'll see. I don't know if there will actually be retaliation. I think this is sort of baked into the cake of that club there in the Senate. Anyway, that looks like just the latest Alabama news. Robert Adderholt, Congressman Adderholt, proposes bill to make English official language of America. And Trump also did an executive order on that. I'm like, the globalists got to him. The official language of America is American.
That's what I thought, Joey. It's American.
So I was at Mexico Beach where my mom lives, and I thought,
beautiful.
I asked Mom, I said, Mom, aren't they going to name it American Beach now?
Should. What's it
Right, it's not the Gulf of Mexico anymore. It's the Gulf of America.
Gulf of America.
Got to change
right
it.
there in Cooter's Pond. That's the
That's
Gulf of
right,
Prattville right now.
that's
So I mean,
right.
we're changing names.
I'll
Let's
tell you
change
what,
the name.
that drives certain people crazy.
Oh, I love it.
It's that simple change drives people absolutely
It's
crazy.
American citizens that are offended by
That's
it.
what
You should
kills
be
me.
proud. You should be
I'm
wearing
telling
a
you, that's
flag
what
like this
kills
man
me.
over here.
Right.
How many Americans are bothered by that? And they just say, well, that's just us spreading, we're bullying people. No, we're taking what's ours and honestly taking what should have been ours a long time ago. We've been taking it on the chin a little bit too long for me.
Get the hell out of here.
Yep.
Yeah, and it really is like people live in a different world. It's like we watched that whole Oval Office showdown with Zelensky, and we're like, yeah, this is great. You're gambling with World War III. You're not going to tell us how we're going to feel. No.
That was really, it reminded me of Shane Gillis doing an impression of
Oh,
Trump
yeah.
because he just caught that moment. He's like, you're not going to tell us.
And speaking of Shane Gillis, apparently he hosted SNL. I didn't watch it live,
I watched the clip.
a lot of clips came out. Shane Gillis, if he hosted SNL every week, I might watch it live. The guy's freaking hilarious.
The shows, or I guess the clips that I saw from it were great, especially the couple of beers.
Couple of beers
was great.
Yeah, it's a new prescription like commercial. Couple of beers.
Also the pump. Maybe you need a bump.
Yeah, yeah, a little bump, and it's a little key. And
Yeah, I don't like cocaine. I just like the way it smells.
That's right. Yeah, maybe you're getting tired from a couple of beers. You're kind of going sleepy. Take a little bump.
Take a little bump.
A little bump.
Yeah, that was hysterical.
Yeah, I mean, Shane Gillis, man, the fact that they fired that guy before he could even get started. The one good thing that came out of that is I thought Lorne Michaels was a true champ in that.
Yeah.
Like he said, we're going to pay you for the whole year.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
we're going to take care of you. I'm sorry, I'm kind of being forced by corporate to do this, but like Lauren wasn't.
He showed some class.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah,
and just to see the meteoric rise in Gillis. And then I guess the other big event I did not watch. I saw a few clips was the Oscars. Yeah,
I'd rather stick a rusty fork in my eye.
Yeah,
right. I think Conan O'Brien did a whole song at the beginning about "I'm not going to waste your time," which I kind of liked.
That sounds fun.
And he called out Adam Sandler.
Oh, really?
And Sandler was just in like a turquoise hoodie and gym shorts. He goes, "Sandler, what are you doing?" It's like, well, you got to call it out. You know what? I'm leaving. And like he's getting up making a show, but then he runs up to the front to Timothy Chalamet, who was, I guess, nominated for Dune, and goes, Chalamet, and then runs out of the room. And I'm like, okay, that's entertaining.
He was doing a John Fetterman, man.
Yeah.
She loved it.
Short John Fetterman.
But what is the movie that won Best Picture? I don't even know.
Nora.
Really?
The only reason I know that because I used to date a girl in like 6th grade named Nora. I saw that this morning.
And
brought back some memories.
when you go to some of these Rotten Tomatoes scores on these movies, and you see like the critics are like, "We love it," and then it's like a 12% score for the audience.
Did you know any of the movies that were nominated? Were you familiar?
I know Dune.
That was it.
And Dune 2 was great.
Yeah,
that was
that
a
was
great,
really it.
very epic sci-fi movie. That was a cool movie. Sure. And they didn't overly do the CGI. It was a lot of practical effects mixed with CGI. Looked amazing. That's a great movie. But yeah, some of the like niche, like it's so cutting edge and progressive stuff. No, I haven't time for that.
Yeah,
we've got other things to watch.
Right.
I still need to rewatch Waterloo. He did that over the weekend.
That's good.
You need
to get back. We'll have a full report. Yeah.
I don't know. You got to wonder, like, is Hollywood ever going to come roaring back? I don't think they are.
You know, it's funny because let's be honest, streaming has got their own studios now.
Yeah.
It's marginalized the voice of these liberal left freaking De Niro's and I'm ashamed to say George Clooney's from Ohio. It just makes me sick to my stomach, but they don't have that platform anymore.
Plus, also look what's going on with Texas with all the comedians and stuff moving to Texas. And a lot of people are leaving California for millions of reasons besides just political. So I think there'll be, much like in the music industry years ago, went to Seattle. If y'all remember.
Then it went to Nashville.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, right. Went to Nashville, right.
Yeah.
I think the same thing is going to happen in Hollywood. I think this is the chance for it can get up and move somewhere else for a little while and then maybe find
When was the last time you guys been into Texas? And where
at? Flew through. I think last time was going to Vegas. We stopped at Dallas.
But you didn't spend any specifics.
No,
Okay, so
I haven't been there a couple years.
So we got a good friend that lives in New Braunfels, right outside of San Antonio, up in Canyon Lake. And I was so excited. I hadn't been in Texas since I was in the Army about 10 years ago. I get there, and I always carry. I'm not carrying right now, but it's in my vehicle. But my point is, I always carry. And I'm thinking, I'm in Texas, man. Come and take it. Somebody says, hey, listen, I need to let you know. Are you from here? I said, no. He goes, you're in a restaurant bar?
Can't carry.
It's 49% of food. I'm like, this is freaking Texas, man. What's wrong with you? I was very disappointed. All
Austin,
the liberals
go around Austin.
Keep it weird, Austin.
Yeah.
Keep it weird.
It's just getting a little too weird there.
Yeah, but then you're seeing like Elon building up more there, other space assets building up there. Well, and that's one thing I haven't gotten to today. It wasn't a SpaceX venture, but the Blue Ghost.
It landed.
It successfully landed on the moon.
Right.
Which is, it's something.
We got it on video. We saw it.
Yeah.
Much like the original moon landing.
I mean, I could pull up the video.
No, I believe
it.
It's a space industry cottage. It's the cottage industry of space exploration. I love it.
So you don't think we went to the moon?
I didn't say that. No, Jay's still here, so of course we went to the moon. When Jay's not here, we'll have that discussion.
Flat Earth people.
I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that at all. Also, just looking at what's trending today online, Casey Anthony.
Yeah,
remember that name?
Yeah, I remember.
I cannot believe this.
What happened?
She came out and said she's now going to be offering she's a woman's and LGBTQ activist.
Ooh,
she's a total complete fraud.
Just watching the selfie video, it's like cocked to one side. It's not even straight. It's like if y'all know your Mom's House references, it's a cool guy look.
Yeah.
And she just has the crazy eyes.
Well, plus she actually brought up her daughter.
Oh my God.
Why would you? So, yeah, I got nothing for her.
BSC.
Absolutely nothing. I mean, but she did. She launched her big thing on TikTok as just to say, hey, world, I'm back. Well, nobody wanted you to come back. But yeah, within the first 2 minutes, she brings up.
She needs to go for a swim.
Yep.
Have a pond. Very, very, a lot of snapping turtles and
I
stuff.
got $10 worth of pennies.
Yeah, that's all you need?
Yep.
And let's, because I'm getting tired. I've been here since 9.
Oh gosh,
Poor boy.
I know, like it's so tough sitting there and
He
not
brought
doing
you a
anything.
Red Bull. You should be bouncing off the wall.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Here, here's a bump. I'm sorry. Here's the key. Give me
Yeah, that'd be an interesting.
Wow.
And Joey won't shut up about it either.
I'll work another 3 hours.
Just can't get him to leave.
How long is this guy going to talk about the Holy Roman Empire?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I would love to do that. Get you wired up. Let him go. Let him go.
That's right.
But
Let him cook.
Let's check in on Peter St. Onge. We hadn't
how
listened
is
to this
Peter?
guy in a while. Well, he's going to bring up what might happen with the Doge efforts. And, well, let's just hear the man out.
Joe Biden's out of office. They're coming clean with the numbers. On Friday, the Atlanta Fed's current GDP estimate crashed from 2.3% growth to negative 1.5%. As in, we could be in a recession that started 3 weeks before Trump took office. So the Atlanta Fed puts out these reports grabbing snips of data to estimate GDP for the entire country. Historically, at this stage, just 2 months into the quarter, it's not very accurate, plus or minus 1.5%, meaning we could be flat on GDP or we could be in a 2008 level recession. What's driving the drop is a collapse in consumer spending and a rise in the savings rate. Now, normally those are indicators of recession, so people stop spending and start saving because winter is coming. Thing is, at the moment, those numbers are dominated by government spending. As in, if you lay off tens of thousands of government workers and cut $60 billion in transgender operas, that's going to show up as a big month-to-month drop. Or as Zero Hedge put it, quote, it has nothing to do with consumer retrenching and everything to do with the U.S. no longer funding opera lessons for transsexual guinea pigs in Bora Bora. Throw in a one-off jump in imports to dodge tariffs and the come down from Biden's pre-election surge in federal spending. Elections do not buy themselves, and the quarter-on-quarter will look terrible, but it's not necessarily flagging distress. It's flagging that the country is healing. Now, this is the paper recession that I've talked about in recent videos, coming from the fact we bizarrely count government waste as GDP. To give a sense, when Javier Milei slashed government by 6% of GDP, Argentina's GDP dropped by 3.5%. In other words, the real economy grew by 2.5%, but government cuts overwhelmed it. Happily, that was followed by projections for 8.5% growth as government waste converts into growth. Of course, we've seen this before in America. After World War II, we demobilized 11 million soldiers. That caused an 11.2% drop in GDP in 1946, one of the worst in our history, which of course set the stage for the 1950s miracle that doubled American GDP. Now, in theory, we could have kept those 11 million on the payroll marching in circles and skipped the 46 recession. Instead, we took the GDP hit to turn swords and transgender operas into plowshares. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. A lot of what Trump is doing will shrink GDP on paper. Cutting government spending, covering government workers, and mass deportation all cut slabs of GDP that were actually making us poor. Yep. Meanwhile, his reforms, cutting taxes, freeing up regulations, and drill baby drill, all take time. You've got to stand up the factory, start the business, drill new holes. So he's cutting the fat fast, but building the muscle takes time, and in the meantime, our weight does go down. Currently, odds for a recession in 2025 are running 28% on prediction betting site Kalshi. That's way down from 54% on the eve of the election, but it's still 28% odds that we get that paper recession. If so, sit tight. Going by the 1950s, it gets a lot better. A new podcast just dropped, rounding up all the daily videos. Check it out at peterstantonge.com or wherever you enjoy your podcasts. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Love that guy.
He's sharp.
Really good.
He's sharp.
Well, and it is something that's, I think, long been the problem. Is like, oh, look at our GDP numbers are so high. It's like, well, what is that being spent on?
It's just bloated.
And this is what I was saying when I was looking at Javier Milei: no pain, no gain. And
right.
So to restructure things, it's gonna not feel good to begin with.
Right.
But you're gonna set yourself up for growth and much better, dynamic, sustainable things in the long run. So. We'll see. Like I said earlier, what you'll need is probably a booming economy by the time of America's 250th birthday. as you head in. We'll see. I'm not certain of that. I don't think anybody is, but we shall see. This part of the program brought to you by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue, and they're at Smokehouse. Well, they're ready to serve you. Man, I could get down on some barbecue like right now.
Yeah.
Like a big old plate of ribs.
Ooh, Joey.
And slather them in extra like spicy barbecue sauce.
Well, if I get to ribs, I'm going to have to get the camp stew because I'm going to do the dipping.
You're dipping.
I'm going to dip the ribs in the camp stew. There's just no doubt about that.
I like that. Or you get like, I think right now I could eat like 2 or 3 pulled pork sandwiches.
Really?
Yeah, I could put
Well,
those
you put them down.
Oh, I could. I'm hungry.
Now, do you get them sauced ahead of time, or do you like to apply your own sauce?
Both.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You like
there's
them
always room for extra
sloppy?
sauce. Yeah. Like, and I like the spicy barbecue they got
me
there.
too.
And of course, it's not just lunch or dinner where you can get it to go or dine in. They also do an amazing breakfast. It's Tuesday through Sunday. They open up early, and you can start your morning off right, getting just a
Cheese
great
grits.
Oh,
That's
cheese
what you
grits.
talk about. Got me wondering.
Go try.
I'm
them,
going
man.
to. I told my wife about
Go
it.
try them. And then, of course, you can get a custom-made biscuit. Like I did a split Kaneko with some American cheese and even got a side of bacon. And their bacon, when you get a side of bacon, it's big, fat, long bacon, and they give you 3 pieces. So if you get like 2 orders of bacon, you're getting 6 strips.
That's a big old boy. Yeah.
And, of course, just fantastic ways that you can enjoy that breakfast. You can even get like the sampler if you can't decide. Get the fat
that's
boy
the way to go,
breakfast
Joey.
Way to go for me.
and try everything out there at Smokehouse. You just stop by. Same location they've always been, Main Street in Millbrook. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie and Troy, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
This is Alice of Independent Glass. We advertise with Blue Water Broadcasting, and we get great results. If you want results like we get, you need to go with Blue Water.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
Are you happy with your IT support company? Do they resolve your company's computer issues quickly, or do they leave you down and frustrated? You need your computers working and problems resolved quickly and permanently. GTI is different. GTI has a high standard of affordably supporting and protecting businesses like yours since 1999. Call them now at 819-4650, 819-4650, or visit gtinow.com.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk, the River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Now, as we were talking, and we could see some of the closed captioning, this press conference was going on announcing, that TSMC is investing $100 billion, multiple facilities. It really is going to be quite something.
It really is.
But of course, President Trump was asked about, Zelensky and this whole deal.
But you said it was 3 plants, though, right?
I think it's 5.
5?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wrote down 3. Wow.
I think it's 5. But here's Trump answering about, Zelensky.
President Zelensky to restart these negotiations?
Well, I just think he should be more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin. We've given them much more than Europe, and Europe should have given more than us because, as you know, that's right there. That's the border.
Yep.
This country really was like the fence on the border. It was very important to Europe, and I'm not knocking Europe. I'm saying that they were a lot smarter than Joe Biden because Joe Biden didn't have a clue. He just gave money hand over fist, and they should have been able to equalize with us. In other words, if we gave $1, they should have given. Well, we gave $350 billion. They probably gave 100, but on top of it all, they get their money back because they're doing it in the form of a loan, and it's a secured loan. So when I saw that, which I've known about for a little while, I said it's time for us to be smart.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's great for them because they get us in the country taking the rare earth, which is going to fuel this big engine, and especially the engine that we've in a very short time created, and we get something, and we're there. We have a presence there. With all of that being said, I want one thing to happen. I want all of those young people to stop being killed. They're being killed by the thousands every single week. Last week, 2,700 were killed. 2,700 young, in this case, just about all young boys from Ukraine and from Russia. And that's not young people from the United States, but it's on a human basis. I want to see it stop. The money is one thing, but the death. And they're losing thousands of soldiers a week. And that's not including the people that get killed every time a town goes down or a missile goes into a town. And I want to see it stop.
Well, it does sound like he's committed to this.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Apparently, some big announcement might happen tomorrow night at the big old speech, so that we will see. I want to go to the big announcement about TSMC. Here is President Trump making that announcement.
Semiconductor is announcing that they will be investing at least $100 billion in new capital in the United States over the next short period of time to build state-of-the-art semiconductor manufacturing facilities. I think mostly it's going to be in Arizona, which is what I understand, which is a great state. I like it because I won it, but I won most of them actually. So, but I did. We won it, and we won it big. The most powerful AI chips in the world will be made right here in America, and it'll be a big percentage of the chips made by his company. But as you know, they're based mostly in Taiwan, and they're far and away the biggest. There's nobody even close. This $100 billion in new investment will go into building five cutting-edge fabrication facilities in the great state that we just discussed, Arizona, and will create thousands of jobs, many thousands of jobs, and they're high-paying jobs. In total, today's announcement brings Taiwan semiconductor investments to about $165 billion they've started.
Wow. And later in the press conference, he said that we'll be at close to 40% of the chips market with this transaction and a couple others that we're doing.
Nice.
Getting back to manufacturing.
Yep.
That's pretty
Where
good
we need to
right
be.
there. I love hearing that. So let's go to Ray Bowles from Brattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Oh, I'm trying to get a little gas. You hear that truck going by?
I did.
I'm sorry. I thought I had a little bit more. No, I don't want. Why do you have to push so many buttons to get gas these days?
Good question, Ray.
It is a good question.
No, I don't want to give my blood. No, I don't want to give my number.
Sign up for our points plan.
Reward.
That adds like 5 minutes to making this thing work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, you cannot have my Social Security number. What the heck? But I tell you one thing, in all seriousness, like when Trump was in office the first time, and he did all the tariffs and everything he did, Mohawk built 3 or 4 new mills. They spent a little like $1 billion on each one.
Wow.
For LVP, for wood, and for laminate. And they brought all of that manufacturing back to the United States.
Nice.
That's what the tariffs does.
Yep.
It forces the hand of these big corporations to open the mills up. And it literally does wonders. Look at Prattville in the, what was this one, the Hardy Plank?
Hardy Plank. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Exactly
the jobs
right.
it brings back in.
Yep.
So I'm like, go boy, just keep doing your thing. Just keep driving these, making these liberals blow their heads off and
Driving them crazy, man.
Shitting kittens.
Just driving them crazy.
And the crazy thing about it, even crazier, is when they built the mills, the pricing went down versus when it was a crop feast trucking it across. So, yeah, the pricing went down, our availability went up, and our timeline went up. It's been great for everybody. So I'm all about pulling all these mills back over.
Me too.
Flooring, whatever it might be, it needs to come back to the state.
Agreed.
And if you need a floor, call us. 285-8117. We'll come out and give you a free estimate, just like that.
Again, that's 285-8117. When you call them up at 285-8117, be sure to say, hey, I heard Ray Bowles on that radio show with Joey and Eddie.
Guys, y'all have a great day.
See you, Ray.
So we got about, 4 or 5 minutes left here. What did we learn today?
I still don't like the governor.
Yeah? You don't like
Nothing's
KIV?
changed. It's only getting worse between her and I.
You know, I asked folks, what do y'all think of Governor KIV? I might read the responses on the radio, and there's a lot of folks I can't repeat what they said.
There's a lot of vitriol.
Yeah, like, you know, like some of it's a little over the top. It's like,
Well, yeah, but some of us, or I didn't vote for, but some folks that did vote for her, I know are greatly disappointed. This is
really?
not what they thought they were going to get. Yeah. Yeah. They thought they would get someone that's a lot more pro-Alabama or Alabamian. Not, but you know, she started off slamming us with the gas taxes right from the get-go.
She sold 100 acres of her land to China, man.
That too,
Come
and
on.
she's one of the biggest property
That's-
owners in the state of
that's
Alabama, and the reason
ridiculous.
is because the taxes.
I think we learned that Marco Rubio's got small hands, but he's got a big heart. I
Yeah,
think that's what he's
he's
got.
toting a big stick. I tell you
no,
that.
and he seems like a statesman.
Yeah.
Elder state. Listen, I'm impressed with the veracity and the genuineness and competency based cabinet he's put together. These people
Very
are
much
coming
so.
together. I mean, it's like team chemistry. It's all starting to gel.
Also, all the men know their men, and the women they know their
Yeah,
women.
that's right.
No
And
confusion
the goats are afraid.
And we learned that Zelensky's now begging Trump
Yeah.
to
What'd you
sign
do?
this mineral deal.
Daddy.
I mean, there's all sorts of headlines. Is he going to do a mineral deal with the Europeans? No. He wants the U.S.
Yeah, he
in
needs the
there.
U.S.
Yeah, I think he got a nice good spanking there from J.D. Vance and President Trump, which, you know, as much as folks are like going after Vance, going after Musk, going after President Trump himself, I don't think it's working very well. It might be working with some folks in the middle who, you know,
Maybe a
they
little
still
bit, but
trust
not-
corporate
Yeah,
media.
yeah.
But in
Yeah.
general, I think these guys are doing exactly what we voted for. We also learned that Trump signed an executive order creating a U.S. crypto reserve.
Oh,
that's
that's
why
right.
you saw a huge, like,
Absolutely.
jump in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
spot price of Bitcoin as well as across the crypto economy. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how that continues to affect things going forward. And we're getting calls just now.
Yeah, Joey.
Really?
Last
With
minute.
2 minutes left?
Last minute.
On there. Who's this?
You know who this is. It's Sam calling.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, listen, I wanted to give a shout out to Troy real quick. I pulled a rookie move for the rally. I showed up as it was starting. I completely forgot about the construction downtown. But I was saying earlier, and I believe Troy could blame me. It was a fantastic. The weather was great, and it was a great crowd. And the VFW, I saw them. I got to watch the from the truck window as I passed by a few times, brother.
Sammy,
But,
thank you for the effort, and it's almost like that was by design. They took all the public parking away. If we have old veterans, we couldn't get them down there.
Too.
But hey, what we need, Sammy, is we need your help. Veteran Nation, we've got to get to these VSOs and let them know that there's bad actors out there telling them that these deals are good and they're not good deals with the state. So we've got to figure that out, man.
That's it, and this is the time to make this happen.
Amen.
Hey, I wanted to reach out to you and just let you know I'll talk to you soon if you don't mind. So
Absolutely, you can call me anytime.
yeah, I'm doing. I went through a bad spell, brother. I'm doing better, but the
Doing much
rally,
better.
all that, it was 5-star. I mean, there were students and people.
We had a
and,
drone
you know,
overhead. Did you see that, Sammy? We had a drone. Filming. Jason Hughes from one of our local VFWs. He does
Nice.
great videography, man. So yeah,
nice.
I didn't know because I saw there was one video. Anyways, but yeah, that Anyways, thank y'all. Let me just get off here. Thank you.
All right. See you, Sammy.
I was worried that the state was monitoring us, but then when my guy goes, "No, that's my drone." I go, "Good, good." Does it got a shotgun on it? Does it have a shotgun on it? In case
There's
you get
nothing more
intercepted?
strange than flying your drone and going, "Wait a minute, there's another
Oh,
drone."
And if you've never been around those things too, that unique sound they
Yeah.
make, like the little professional ones, man, that is that hum.
And I'm sure that the Russian
quiet
soldiers
props.
feel very strongly about
Yeah.
hearing that.
Yeah, I've seen the videos.
It's
Yeah.
brutal. They're brutal.
Man, you ain't kidding.
Anyway, well, that's it.
Yay.
Greg Budell with Happy Hour.
Go
He's
get
next.
some rest.
Thank you, Troy.
Joey. Get some rest.
I know it's been such a long time.
So hard working through that 6 hours.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master